Yo, what is up, y'all? This is DPS Podcast episode number 50. Absolutely episode 50. Episode 50 out here. And we are slow-mo backslapping Game of Forte, as if you ain't already know, of course, right? Hope you guys having a great evening. I know we're running a little late, but it's all right. It's all right. We're going to have a good show. Not a show as long as we normally do. We normally do about anywhere between 2 hours and 15 to 30 minutes, right, Forte? But we're gonna try to make it as 2 hours right on the dot, so you guys can go
play your
go
Tales
to bed.
Of Arise.
Look. Okay, the responsible ones of you will be going to sleep so you can work tomorrow. The irresponsible bastards that you are, like myself, will be playing something, to an ungodly hour. So, but let's go ahead and get into the intros, get into it. Forte, what's up, man? How you doing, bro?
Man, today has been a good day. I got the chance to do a live stream with Slow-Mo Backslap earlier today, even though I came in at the very end to give my opinion on the show. That was a great show, Slow-Mo. And then I was able to sell NBA 2K and Tales of Arise to a bunch of people that were very, very happy to walk out of the store at 9 o'clock. Shout out to GameStop.
How many copies of Tales of Arise do you sell? I already know you sold every copy of 2K you could possibly sell, but how much did Tales of Arise sell for you?
I think we had about 28 copies pre-ordered, and at least I think it was 17 of them sold today. So
that's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah, it was actually pretty cool, and I wasn't expecting that many people because NBA, I always expect people to come out because it's a sports game, and it's one of those games that people want to jump in right at the crack of dawn because they know everybody else gonna be in there spending money. Like, shout out to B Money. But when it comes to Tales of Arise, I was like, most people are gonna be like, I work tomorrow, I'm responsible, I got a job, I got to get up in the morning. I'll pick the game up after I get off work. And guess what? Most of those people was like, man, I don't know why I'm picking this game up tonight because I work at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I don't know he said, but the fact that GameStop giving it to me at 9 o'clock and I ain't got to wait till midnight kind of coerced me to come pick this game up and buy it in store. So shout out to GameStop for getting back to doing that. That's actually a really cool thing to, be digital when it comes to that.
Yeah. I'm actually really, I'm really not surprised that it's selling so well for you, considering when it comes to Tales of Arise, considering it's been reviewing so well and people are saying it's the best Tales game that has ever come out. So I think that
I have a copy of it right here.
I'm picking it up as well. I haven't bought it yet because I got a little bit of a dilemma here. Here's my dilemma.
Let's go.
Both Tales of Arise and Life is Strange have come out on the same day. Now, I know I have been slandering Life is Strange for over a year now with the way it starts out so strong, but then ends so poorly, and it just really frustrates me. But man, I'm looking at some of the feedback on it, and I was already kind of interested in it to begin with, and I'm like, this might be something that I could stream. Like, even if it turns out it pisses me off again, at least people will be entertained in my frustration when I scream how angry I am.
Right. Is it still episode based?
No, this one actually is a little bit different. So this one is I don't know if it's designed in episodes, but you'll get it all at once. So it's not like you gotta wait for it's like the first episode, then you gotta wait for the second episode, and then it's like it really all comes out and finishes in the course of like 3/4 of a year or so. It's not like that. You're going to be able to go through it all at your own leisure, which is good. I think that part of the reason why they have gotten somewhat of a pass with the game media and stuff is that they like I said, they start off strong. The first two episodes are really, really good, and then somewhere around like the third, fourth episode is where it just falls off a cliff. But at that point, like, people really aren't doing reviews like that anymore. These reviewers are reviewing like the first episode or two, and then they're no longer paying attention to it. And I think them putting it all together like that, maybe it's a little bit more focused. And I think the game's going to be, it looks like it might be their best one. So I feel like I might actually just, because that'll be shorter than like an RPG. I feel like I probably could run through Life is Strange and then go into Tales of Arise. So I think that's what I'm going to end up doing.
I see Tales of Arise actually being, I see Life is Strange being on sale faster than Tales of Arise, though.
That is true. That guy Smitty in the chat said, please stream that joint. Might save me from wasting my money. That might be the move, man. What's up? Let me shout out some people in the chat, because I haven't done that yet. Shout out to Mitchy Dies a Lot, reclaiming his spot as the first person here. Appreciate you, bro. We got Erodimus in the house. What's up, Erodimus? He said he got he's ready to provide the smoke. I feel like Erodimus has got a lot of stuff to get off his chest about this the showcase that we had. Spider 13, what's up, man? RBC Tablet. Okay, all right. I think that's a new person. Good to see you, though. That guy Smitty, of course. Gerard Mack, Blade X, Franco Tech, McCall Brown, Glorious War, X Burke, and our homie B Money. B Money's in the chat. What's up, B? So, and B, if you're free, if you want to come on through with us, come on in, man. It's all good. So I guess we can just go ahead and get into it, because we're limited on time anyway, right? So So today was the PlayStation 5 showcase, and I,
is that what that was?
I mean, that's, yeah. I mean, it was called the PlayStation Showcase. Stop it! It was a showcase, man.
I'm just messing with you.
Now, you can call it the PlayStation 5 Showcase, because it did focus primarily on games that are just going to PlayStation 5. I didn't see anything about anything PlayStation 4. Although with the way Sony be acting sometimes.
That was a showcase of moving pixels, sir.
Explain that.
I'm just talking.
I'm
just talking. I mean, it is moving pixels. Pixels are
everything is moving pixels.
Like, just another way of calling it something else. It was a PlayStation showcase of moving pixels. Some of the pixels look way better than other pixels.
Lord, the kind of night we about to have. All right,
as you can tell, I feel really good tonight, bro. Let's go.
I don't know what you had, man. I don't
Nothing. I'm just happy to be with my brother tonight, man. As once a week is not enough. I have you on Brap, but that's not intimate enough. I need you all to myself on DPS every Thursday night. My brother, man, I love you.
It's a bit intimate. Shout out to Brian Cooper for subbing to the channel. We appreciate you, Brian. Hope you're having a good time. Hope you're enjoying the show. Well, let's get into expectations real quick, okay? Let's talk about our expectations prior to the show, and then we can kind of get into, we'll actually go through game by game, because I do think the format was good. The format of how they just showed games and didn't show us developer stuff. Like, thank you. Appreciate that. Didn't talk about services or nothing, just show games. Appreciate that always. Now, my expectations before the show, I had said multiple times that I expected to see God of War. I expected to see Guerrilla Games' second studio's multiplayer game. And I expected to see factions. Those were the three things that I thought were guaranteed to happen. Like, I thought that was like it's a slam dunk. It's got to happen. That's definitely going to happen at this point. Didn't really see that. Got God of War, of course, but the others I didn't get what I thought with factions and the Guerrilla Games multiplayer game. What were your expectations?
I had one expectation, sir, and it was God of War, and my expectation was fulfilled. I didn't look. It's not that. I think it was more. There was a lot of chatter out there about what would be shown, and shout out to the homeboy, that guy Smitty, with the $5 super chat saying 50 episodes. Shout out to you guys. Yeah, slow mo. Yep. Can you imagine?
Thank you,
can you imagine in the next 2 weeks hosted on your channel that we are going to hit 1 year worth of shows? I can't believe it, bro.
We are coming up on that, aren't we? 1
year, 52 weeks is 1 year. I mean, it's been over a year since we missed like a 1 or 2 weeks in between.
So yeah, I think like the anniversary probably. This might actually be the anniversary or something. I mean, who keeps track of this stuff?
Yeah, but number wise, 52 is going to be a big one, and it's going to be on my boy's channel. So shout out to that. But no, God of War was the only expectation I had at this show. Factions was, I mean, it would have been great if it was there. But it wasn't. It would have been great to see Guerrilla's gang, but guess what? Sony didn't come out and give any clues on anything that they were going to show. So my whole thought process on that is no, I'm saying my whole thought process for these showcases are, if they don't explicitly say that this is going to be there or give some type of clue to it being there, I don't overreact to anything that they're saying. The only thing I truly cared about was God of War, and I got what I wanted. So that made the show good enough to give it a, we'll talk about our scores later, but it was good enough to give it the score that I gave it. But overall, I know a lot of people are truly disappointed because a lot of the multiplayer stuff that Sony has been touting over the course of the beginning of this generation, saying that we got this studio doing this, we got that studio got this, we got factions still in the works for a game that's been out for almost a year now, and people are kind of getting a little weary and tired of that. But ultimately, everything else they show, perfectly fine with. But I know some people kind of built up their expectations to see more than what they actually thought they were going to get. And I don't think that was a Sony issue. I think that was more of people
that was community-based, media-based. That people said.
Jason Schreier even came out and said that he said PlayStation Showcase is going to be more important than eating food. When you say something like that, you're setting people up for, like, dude, people trust Jason Schreier. If he's going to come out and say that literally this event is going to be worth more than eating food, what do you think people are going to take from that? That's the problem that kind of happened. And guess what? I looked at it and I was like, that's interesting. I wonder if that's going to fall back and bite them in the butt at the end of this show. And depending on the person you are, it might have. If you're a huge Insomniac fan, you might just be ecstatic. But I kind of feel that although I was disappointed with some things that I didn't see, that it was I started to feel like this ever since they made the announcement that the show was going to be this Thursday, and listening to so many Twitter spaces and so many podcasts and listening to people discuss their excitement for it. I saw the excitement start to build to a point where I kind of wondered, like, man, this might be a little too much for them to be able to actually fulfill. That there were so many people. I want Metal Gear Solid remake. I'm like, we don't even know if that's real. Right? Silent Hill remake. We don't even know if that's real.
Yeah, it's just so much stuff that, like, I was just like, man, there's just so many, like, nostalgia fueled, like, theories and rumors that were.
Stuff came out.
Yeah,
like, people was rumoring that,
and so it's just like it became. I think in the past couple of days, impossible to really meet that expectations. Not saying people should have tempered their expectations, because what you want is what you want, right? If you want a Resistance remake, there's nothing wrong with that. State what you want. If you want factions, I think. We're going to get into that.
Somebody I know
we're going to get into that later.
Somebody I know gave it a 4 out of 10 because factions wasn't there pretty much.
Right. And that's valid for that person's experience, because that's what they expected. That's what they wanted. Expected. Now, let's just go ahead and just start getting into the games. And, our homie B Money, who who's really an insider, but he doesn't want to admit it. Our homie B
I
Money
know.
in the chat said, "Don't sleep on PlayStation Experience returning this holiday." Look, if B Money said it, I believe it's going to happen. So
I believe it. I believe it too. But that still doesn't change the fact that PlayStation put their name on this event, and I don't blame them for the hype that happened from the event.
Mhm.
But this the thing, they have to realize, and I think Microsoft realized this a while ago too, because Microsoft actually comes out. Aaron Greenberg is real quick to say, "Yo, we ain't gonna have this. This gonna be there. This ain't gonna be there."
Right.
And I'm not saying PlayStation needs to do something like that, but I also think that PlayStation kind of has to temper people's expectations around what they're going to see, because people are just going to run wild with their theories.
Yeah, if you start to see some talk that's just outlandish, if you start to hear some things like, man, they're going to give us a 8K 120 frame per second Bloodborne. Yo, if you're working marketing, like you're working marketing, and then like if one person says that, you're just like, the heck, is this guy serious? Come on. But then you start seeing multiple people catch that, and then you start seeing the gaming media talk about it, and you're just like, yo, that's definitely not happening. We're not even working on Bloodborne right now. So like, yo,
but the funny thing is, some of the gaming media actually have insight to what these shows are going to have, because they literally have articles up right at the time of them announcing those things. So it's like, I know they're under NDA and they can't talk about that stuff, but some of these same media people know exactly what's going to go into these shows, but they still feel the expectation and this thought that all of this extra stuff's going to be there.
Yeah. And so, I do think it was kind of like a combination of a lot of things, where people weren't tempering, like the media wasn't tempering expectations. The gamers expectations were skyrocketing. And even though it's a good show, it just didn't seem to live up to the hype that people thought it was going to be. Would you agree with that?
No, I agree with that 100%. I think like I said, we'll get through the games and stuff that they show, because I think without the expectations, I believe this show was one of their best shows they've done in a couple of years. I feel like the overall flow, the presentation, every show has its lows, has its ups and downs, but I think it started out strong, and I think they finished really strong. And I do believe that they show people why you have a PlayStation 5 or just a PlayStation console in general,
right?
Because these are the games you're going to experience at some point during this generation.
It gave you something to look forward to, and that's what you always want to do with these kind of shows. You want to provide the gaming community that owns your platform or is interested in owning your platform, a potential customer, what to look forward to, so that they can look at that piece of hardware and say, my investment in this was worth it. My $500 in this was worth the money I spent, because I'm going to be able to play this, and this, and I know all of that because I watched this show, and that's what they provided for me. So let's just go ahead and get into the first game that was shown. So we had, probably the most exciting thing for me was Knights of the Old Republic remake, being developed by Aspyr Studio, who has actually, if you don't know who Aspyr is, Aspyr has actually been doing ports of Knights of the Old Republic to mobile, to other devices. So they have a experience already with Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, and they actually have roughly around 50 former BioWare developers, and a good number of those used to work on the actual Knights of the Old Republic. This game, if you haven't played it before, let me just explain to you the importance of this move that Sony made. Knights of the Old Republic is probably one of the top 3 games to come out on the original Xbox. It is the game that put BioWare on the map. Before Knights of the Old Republic, nobody knew who BioWare was.
Mm-hmm.
After Knights of the Old Republic, they were vaulted into this category where And for a while, we have to admit, they lived up to expectations with that. But they got vaulted into this category from unknown small developer to big time AAA developer like that. And it's because the story of this game took what I would, maybe just my personal opinion here, but Star Wars is story wise, at the most, what I can say is that the quality of the stories are inconsistent. I think many people could probably agree with that. But what they did was, instead of trying to create a story built out of like a jumbled mess, which is the original trilogy and the pre-trilogy, what they did was they went thousands of years into the past, took the foundation of what Jedis and Sith are, that whole universe, and really got creative with the story. Drew Karpyshyn was the lead writer on Knights of the Old Republic. Drew Karpyshyn went on to write the majority of the Mass Effect trilogy. So this is the kind of pedigree that is in this game, and they are remaking it, not remastering it, because it's so old. A remaster literally cannot be helpful whatsoever. They are remaking it. And from what we found out from shout out to Shinobi on Twitter, what we found out from him, as well as Jeff Grubb, that this is a timed console exclusive for the PlayStation 5, not going on last gen at all, only current gen. PlayStation 5 timed exclusive. We don't know what the time period is, if it's a year, but I think it might be more than a year, based off of the fact that it looks like, well, not just looks like, it has been stated that PlayStation published this game and helped fund this title. I'm baffled that Xbox division allowed this to happen. This game has been synonymous with original Xbox. It's an exclusive console-wise that has only been on Xbox. And not only did you lose that to your competition, but your competition is going to get it before you for a significant period of time. Forte, what do you think about this, man?
Ooh-wee, Jesus. That's a lot to unpack that you said there. So yeah, I was just looking at the tweet from Lucasfilms, and they said a legendary story remade for a new generation of players is coming to PS5 and PC. So it's going to be on PC day and date.
That's where I'm getting it.
Oh, that's where I'm getting it too. I don't care about it. That's exactly
I'm playing that thing with superior hardware.
Yep, on an ultra wide monitor.
Shout out to my PC gamers in the house.
Shout out to the PC gamers. No, you're absolutely right about the Xbox angle on this. It's hard for me to believe that this. Now, if it's true what you're saying, because I didn't read anything on that, because I was at work, so I didn't get like all the tea leaves, and you got a little bit more information on that. If it is true that PlayStation is publishing this, oh boy, how long did it take? How long did it take Mass Effect? Matter of fact, Mass Effect never went to PS3.
The first one?
The first one?
No, it didn't.
Never. It only was on Xbox. So they already pretty much put the gauntlet out there saying that it is coming to Xbox by saying it's a time console exclusive. Right. So we know something like that is actually in the works, and it will be a version. It also depends on Sony. It has been known to have these long-term deals in place.
Y'all hit the like button, y'all. Just hit the like button. Just a little bit.
Well, we hitting the like button here. What's going on?
I don't know. I'm just seeing, like, you know, that the like that number of live viewers is like
40 people watching and only 18 likes. I mean, let's go hit the like button.
Hit the like button. Okay, appreciate you guys. Go ahead, Forte.
No, but I think if you go off of previous deals that Sony has in the same vein, like Final Fantasy Remake 7, we are still not sure when that game is coming to Xbox, even knowing we know it's going to come to Xbox at some point.
And there will be no announcement.
And there will be no announcement.
Right.
It will end up being the situation. Now, are we going to be waiting for the whole entire thing to release before it goes to Xbox?
On quick correction. I was kind of wondering about that. Glad B Money corrected us. Mass Effect 1 came in onto PS3. I think that was probably at the end of the PS3 life cycle.
Did it come to PS3?
Yeah, in the trilogy. In the sense.
Oh, yes, he's right. In the trilogy,
so it did show up eventually, but. Think about that. That was that's a long time because I think it was the PS2.
Xbox published.
Yeah, I think it was the PS2 that was out when that game came out. So it took that long for it to show up over there. But I mean, of course, that makes sense because the game was published by
Xbox.
Microsoft. Yeah.
Yeah, by Microsoft Game Studios under the umbrella of BioWare, which should have
purchased them instead of allowing EA to ruin them. But we've been down that road a million times. Let's go ahead and continue. Go ahead.
No, but I think if you unpack it with Final Fantasy and the situation around that, we don't know if we're going to be waiting for the full version of that game to release before we see it on Xbox, or are we going to see it in pieces just like we see on PS5 and PS4? So if you take that kind of look at it, it could be years. Like this game, we might be going into another generation before we see SWTOR show up on an Xbox console, which is kind of crazy. And the fact that Disney really allows that to happen, but I think it's easier to do when you're talking about PlayStation and PC because PlayStation is the bigger player base when it comes to the console base, and then as long as you're getting that on PC, a lot of people are going to be perfectly fine with that. Right. It would be more of a problem if it was Xbox exclusive and PS4 and PS5 people were left out, because then it would be a conversation on, are you really going to leave blank 120 million people out?
You mean a problem from Lucasfilm and Disney's perspective?
That's what I'm saying. Would it be a problem for them? Because then you're cutting out a bigger part of the player base, and Xbox probably had to pony up a lot of money to get something like that to happen.
Well, here's the thought, because this is still the same entity that owns the IP that's involved in this.
Yes.
Indiana Jones and Machine Games. So we don't know.
Eye for an eye, basically. They gave them this, and they got.
Yeah, this may be a similar kind of deal. You got Bethesda as the publisher. You have Machine Games as the developer. Now, we don't know whether that deal was made prior to the ZeniMax acquisition or after.
Right.
That said, because that is a thing that's out there, and we don't know the status of that. We don't know whether this is going to be a full-on exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem, which is Xbox and PC. We don't know if it's timed console exclusive. We don't know anything, right? At this point, it's very, very early at this stage, but that's a potential possibility. And we know now that we see what's happening with KOTOR, that it's a possibility with Lucasfilm that they have no problem with doing console exclusives.
If that's the case, as much as I love Indiana Jones, I feel like Xbox lost that if that was the case, because
absolutely, it's not even close.
They lost that.
They lost that battle. If they out here thinking, well, hey, they may have got KOTOR remake, but we got Indiana Jones. Like, somebody needs to throw some lettuce at whoever says that in the boardroom. No, we lost. We took an L here. We may have got something,
a major L on,
but we didn't get that. We didn't get one of the greatest RPGs that was ever created. I mean,
dude, did you see Red? Listen, man, I saw that when I saw that trailer and I saw Revan, and all the feelings came back. I was like, dude, oh my god,
one of the greatest characters ever created
in the Star Wars universe. That man had so much range. He was a Jedi, he was a Sith Lord, he was every freaking thing, man. I can't wait to see. Listen, PC is where I'm going to play this game at. If it was available only on PlayStation and not on PC, I would be playing it there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I got no problems playing it anywhere. That's why I own every platform that I want to have where games will exist that I want to play.
Listen, people say that third-party games are not really system sellers. They can sell anywhere, and they're absolutely right about this. But when it comes to this game will literally, when it comes to the console base, it will literally sway sway sales to the PlayStation 5.
Right.
Literally going to sway them to the PS5.
Yeah, sure will. So I did do a poll. I'm gonna do a poll for each game that we talk about. My poll was: are you interested in KOTOR Remake? 80% of you said yes. 20% of you said no. 20% of you don't have any taste. It was okay. We love you anyway. You don't have any taste in games, but it's all right. We're gonna work on that. We're gonna work on that. Go ahead.
Man.
Next game they showed was Project Eve. I'm trying to find it. Here we go. Project Eve. So Project Eve gave me a lot of. Let me see if you felt the same way about it. I got a lot of Bayonetta.
Yep.
Vibes with this. Yeah. Bayonetta and Devil May Cry. Bayonetta and Devil May Cry vibes is what I got from this.
Yeah, and as soon as I was looking at, that's what I saw all day, every day. Boob physics and all.
Yeah, and I've seen there's a particular part of this trailer where she's the main protagonist. She's fighting a monster. It looked like in a cave of some sort. I've seen that before. I've seen a snippet of that months ago, and I was just like, "Oh, this combat looks amazing. What is this?" And so I'm definitely super interested in this game. This is definitely going to be a cop for me. What about you?
Oh, it is. I'm a huge Bayonetta fan, and when I saw it, I was like, "Yo, this is very fast paced, really, really involved." It's probably going to have a lot of different weapons and armory that you can use for different fighting styles and stuff. Like you said, when it comes to Bayonetta, you got guns and swords and hair, and Devil May Cry, same thing. Guns and swords and all this. It just fighting by hand. It's crazy. So when I looked at it, it's the first thing I thought about. I was like, "Yo, this looks really, really good." And I just want to know more. It's like one of those games that just kind of stood out because anything that you can just go into, and it's like one of those games that I call it a spectacular feat. Every time you pull something off in the game, some cool combo, something that you could just look and say, "Oh my God, the blood just squirted all over the place at this person." I was like, "Yo, the attention to detail looked really, really good." I like the fact that limbs were getting chopped off. I just feel like games like this, if you're going to make a game like this, you have to be willing to go as far as you can go to make that game look so appealing to the point, because you already got the blood, the guts, the gore in there. You might as well go all the way and sever limbs and do everything when it comes to that, because let's be for real, people are narcissists and they like stuff like that when it comes to their video games, and that game definitely gave me those vibes when I looked at it.
Yeah, I do kind of wonder about, so like this game gives me, it reminds me of the kind of game that you'll see where like the combat is really good, but the story doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Oh, no sense whatsoever. Like, where did these aliens come from?
Yeah. What is happening here? Like one of those, and I hate to get on anime, but you see a lot of anime where it's like the writer just is like their ability to explain what's happening is
Scarlet Nexus.
Hey, I like Scarlet. I like Scarlet Nexus' story, man.
Slow-mo, I like Scarlet Nexus too, but at a certain point, you start getting aliens and stuff in the game. Like, where is this story going?
Well, look, see, you gotta finish it to actually, they reveal a lot near the end, so you're supposed to be confused in the beginning with Scarlet Nexus.
Yeah,
like, we ain't gonna do no Scarlet Nexus slander out here. That's what
I love Scarlet Nexus, but when you get to those parts, and you're like, no, the aliens are attacking. What's going on?
But look, about Project Eve, I like the set pieces with the fights where it just seemed like they're like very big bombastic moments where, like, let's say you go through different stages in a fight and she's cutting limbs off and she's hacking on their brain, like that kind of stuff. That it looked aesthetically, it looked really great. So I think this is a game
really good. Yeah,
I think this is a game that's going to be on a lot of people's radars. Although it's going to have a lot of competition, considering I don't know the status of it, if it's a PS5 exclusive or timed or whatever it is, but there are a lot of games that are coming out on PlayStation that give similar vibes to people. I'm talking like Lost Soul Aside, those kind of games, and Even though also aside, no one knows when the heck that one's going to actually come out. But there are other games that I've seen that are similar to this from other studios, developers on the Eastern Hemisphere that look really good in the combat. They've nailed the combat really well. And so I kind of wonder if this one's going to have some competition in that arena where the PlayStation community might be like, I'm kind of oversaturated with these. So maybe I'll skip this one or I'll get it eventually and I might hurt it. But who knows? Like I said, I'm interested in this one. And as I'm looking at the poll here, I think we not as many people, but we do have what's this? Give me a second. I don't know why it's not popping back up. There it is, finally. Project Eve. 60% of you guys are interested in that one, and 40% of you guys aren't. So definitely a little bit different than KOTOR. But I think it's a game that might actually surprise some people. I think this next one though is going to be. I think it might flip the poll on this one.
It shows that Project Eve is coming to Xbox and it's coming to PC and everything.
And where do you think I'm going to get it, Forte?
PC.
Of course. So next game is actually something that we've already seen before. I think this is probably where the show started to take a turn with people. So there was a string of games here where people had seen them before and was just like, yo, why is this here, right? And the first one was Tiny Tina's Wonderland, which is a spinoff from Borderlands. Now, Borderlands 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. I love the Borderlands series, so this game is a cop for me. It's a guarantee I'm getting this game. That said, I understand that Borderlands is a very, very dedicated community. And although that community is large, not everybody cares for Borderlands like that. We saw that pretty much with the way Borderlands 3 did not hit the same way Borderlands 2 did. Now, that's it about this game. I do know, I've heard from developers that this isn't a straight up Borderlands game. It's not a straight looter shooter, first person shooter with guns. There are a lot of other RPG elements to this where you're doing a lot of building and having a lot of different ways to build up your character, your hero, and you can actually create your own hero in this, I believe. So this is going to be a little bit out of the typical Borderlands wheelhouse, and I'll boot this one over to you, Forte. What do you think about Tiny Tina's Wonderland?
Tiny Tina is one of my favorite characters in the Borderlands franchise. It was only a matter of time until they did something like this and give her own game, because everybody remembers in Borderlands 2, the first time you saw her, she had you running around doing all this fetch quest. It was like the first time people did not mind fetch quests in Borderlands because her part was so hilarious. But no, I mean, it depends on if you're into the not the Telltale thing, but if you're into just the whole aesthetic of what they do around Borderlands and you are a really big fan of Tiny Tina, then this wasn't going to be a problem for you. If you love the humor, this isn't a problem for you. For the people that don't too much care for that, they're like, I could have kept it. Plus, they just showed this, and I think this game didn't have enough time since they showed it last. They literally just showed it like 3 months, like 2 months, like a month ago, 2 months ago. They showed it at
I think it was before E3. No, it was at E3 because Gearbox has their own E3 show now, so they showed it at E3. They showed it at E3. So we just seen this, and I mean, granted, that's not PlayStation's fault, and that's why I'm not going to really hold it against PlayStation. I just think that this was a game that people just saw. And when the expectations, not by PlayStation, but just by media and fans alike, you would kind of think that people want to kind of see more new stuff, especially when it comes to the games that are, right now PlayStation is kind of in a drought because they had a really good start to the year, filing it out with Ratchet and Clank. Now people are just looking forward to what the next game is going to be from them. And they're looking at this showcase like, yo, this is a showcase of all the games we're going to be getting in the future.
And I think they probably were thinking that these games should be stuff that we haven't seen before. So anytime people see something like this and they already know what it is always going to be like kind of a downer unless they are super excited for what that IP is. And that's going to be like for you, me, people that love Borderlands, people that especially love Tiny Tina, because I think this is going to be a really fun game. And like you see the loot pinata with everything bursting out of the scene. I can't wait to see that actually happen in game. But I can understand how this is probably a miss for some people, and that's when they started rolling their eyes at the
which I think is going to be. Oh, thank you, B. I was going to get into that, B. So the people who are writing for that's about Forspoken. We'll get into that later. The writing about Tiny Tina's Wonderland. If it's anything like the previous expansion for Borderlands 2 with Tiny Tina, you're going to really, really enjoy this. That expansion was so well done, so well written, and just like everyone who played it, it really capped an amazing, finished like the full content of an amazing Borderlands 2 game. And so to see them do a spin-off of that is themed around kind of a similar theme of D&D style, Dungeons and Dragons style gameplay with Borderlands looter shooter, really gives people that vibes of that old expansion for Borderlands 2. And if it's anything like that, I think people will be very, very impressed. But we'll see. We'll see.
100%.
What do you think about the release date of this one?
When was it? I didn't see it. I didn't catch it on the screen. What was the release date?
It said March. I think it said March. Year? Yeah.
Oh man, that game's gonna get passed over so much.
It's so much right there. It's so much
it's everything's coming out at the middle. It's like it's not even that things are coming out in the beginning of February. Everything's coming out at the middle end of it, and we're not talking about just short games. Like Horizon is gonna be a 40 to 50 hour game for some people, probably even longer, depending on how much stuff they're actually gonna put into that game. And then there's just so many other things that's coming out that got delayed out of this year, pushed to next year. And then you got things coming out. I mean, I don't know how many things are coming out after that, in that immediate window. But it really is going to speak to the people this game is only going to really speak to the people that love Borderlands. If you are a Borderlands fan and you love Tiny Tina, then the release date's not going to matter to you because you're going to buy the game and play the game when it comes out. But I can easily see this game getting passed over significantly by a lot of people due to the fact that there's other bigger fish out there in the pond that people are going to want to play. Like
they might want to delay this. They might want to delay this out of that window because you got a lot of games coming in February.
Or bring it out in January. Bring it out before.
But then, so here's the deal, though, right? I think any publisher, if they could release a game earlier, they would. So do you want it to be a buggy mess in January, or do you want a more stable game with giving the developer 2 more months to work on it in March? I think that if they could do it in January, they would. So I think really like your only real options is to like wish for the best in March or push it back to try to avoid that. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. The chat says 64% of them are interested in Tiny Tina's Wonderland and only 35% aren't. So I'm actually somewhat shocked about that. Maybe this audience does have some taste. Maybe I was wrong. I'm just seeing our homie Audible in the chat. So how dare you hate on anime, Slow-Mo? Hey, look, Audible. I like anime. It has very great like premises and plots and a lot of the action in it is amazing. But some of the stories, bro. Some of them stories, you know what I'm talking about. Like, don't get me started.
Yeah.
Next, we do have something I think that a lot of people were actually pleasantly surprised to see, even though they've already seen it before, and that is Forspoken. And Forspoken, which was previously Project Athea, it looks great.
Better name.
Yo, Forspoken is Forspoken is
such
not
a better name.
Yeah.
It's not a horrible name, but Project Athena was just a better name.
Let me just say this though, because I did a video on this when they first showed it last year, and then part of my video I was talking about how great the Luminous engine is. And this is being developed by Luminous Productions, which is like a spin-off studio from the Final Fantasy team under Square. And Luminous Productions has been developing this game engine for a minute now, and they've got some really nice looking demos. But the way like the character in Forspoken looks, the main character, her facial expressions, the detail in her face, the environment, I'm like, and this game's not even ready yet. It's not even finished yet. Like this game's gonna look amazing, and I really like the way the movement is when they show her like running across like her traversal over rooftops, and it looks incredible to me. I can't wait to play this. What about you?
No, I'm with you. When I first saw it as Project Athena, I was like, yo, this looks, just what they were showing, it looked so good. Like the animations look good. I like the traversal that they were showing off in the environments and stuff. I just think that it's one of those, it was like one of those next gen showcase games that actually is something you're going to play. We talked about the Unreal demo they did for PS5, and I always thought like, okay, that looks good, but that's never going to be a game. They can go all out and make that look as great as it can look. But when I saw Project Athena or Forspoken now, I always looked at like, yo, this is a game that you're literally going to play, and it looks incredible.
Yeah.
And it's just, it also started that conversation that people were saying like, yo, what is Xbox? This is before, we knew all of the plans on what Xbox was going to do with their first party studios and stuff. People were looking at games like this, like, yo, how are they going to compete? They're getting everything. And that still doesn't change after seeing this. It's just another game that's going to be in the tool belt for Sony to release over the course of the next couple of years and get people to want to buy a PlayStation 5. And that's what competition does. I love
this is another one that's timed exclusive to the PlayStation 5 console.
Yeah, it is.
Console exclusive. I will be getting this on PC as well.
Slow-mo. Let me ask you something. At a certain point, why do you have a PlayStation 5, sir?
But you'll see why I have a PlayStation 5 later on in the show.
For the absolute exclusive that you're going to see at the end of the show.
Exactly. The stuff that I can't get on PC is why I got a PlayStation 5, sir.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I'm the same way.
But look, as much as I'm hyped about this game, I do have to point out some of my worries, my concerns.
Okay.
Luminous Productions is a spinoff from the Final Fantasy team that did Final Fantasy 15. Bro, I hate Final Fantasy 15.
It's a looker though, bro. That's a looker. That's all it is.
I have tried to finish Final Fantasy 15 3 times. I've literally bought it 3 times on 3 different platforms. I think wasn't it timed exclusive to PlayStation? I think 15?
It was. Yeah,
so I bought it on PlayStation, right? Couldn't finish.
No, it wasn't time exclusive. It came out on there. Oh no, it wasn't.
There was something. It had maybe it was just maybe they just had the marketing. I can't remember.
The Royale edition was exclusive to PS5, then it came to everything, I believe.
Okay, so now something that the chat is discussing, is something that may shore up some of my concerns here. Amy Hennig is writing for this game.
Is writing this, yeah. I didn't even know she was at the company.
Yeah, and I think Gary Whitta is. I think if I recall correctly, he wrote for Cobra Kai.
He sure did.
So Cobra Kai has a lot of young adult themes. The main character here is a young adult. I'm thinking, okay, you shored up a problem that you have, which is writing. Because even though you come from Final Fantasy, which at one point used to be known for great writing, not recently. Not recently at all. So that said, right, I think that this is that's a good move for them, and
Right.
despite there being some reservations, considering how Final Fantasy 15 went, I'm still super excited for this because this combat is oh man, is everything, and just the way the world looks. I really have a good feeling about this one, and I think the chat does as well. We got 82% of the chat is excited for Spoken, which is probably the highest percentage out of the votes that we've had so far.
The question is, most people don't. Is it that it's a new IP, or is it because it looks gorgeous? Because those
it
two
might be all
are,
the above. You know, it might be all the above there.
It might be all the above, but I know the first thing, you know, the human brain reacts to visuals before anything. You know, that's what draws you into the game, and then once you get a chance to see what the game is about, then that kind of submits it. It's like dating a girl. It's like, you know, the looks is what gets you, then her brain is what actually keeps you there, or
repels you.
or repels you, depending on how snotty she can be. You absolutely right
crazy,
about that.
crazy.
Crazy.
Could have you watching your back, you know, checking your, make sure your brake's still intact. You never know, right?
Slow mo, you got some stories to tell, don't you?
We not gonna get into it. I don't need the nightmares tonight. So moving on. Next up was okay. So this is where people really started to go, all right, come on, bruh. So like Alan Wake was next, and we'd already known based off of the reveal of this yesterday that there was an Alan Wake remaster. It was also leaked because it was shown to be in the Epic Game Store database.
Yep.
That this was coming out, and I had heard that this was using the Northlight engine, which is the same engine for Control. And I'm thinking like, dang, this is gonna be a full-on remake. This is not a remake, bro.
What are they doing?
This, like, you see it? This is not a remake.
I've seen it. It's not. It's like the PC version on.
It looked like the same exact game with just a little bit of cleanup. You know, just a little bit cleanup. But look, I'm not a huge Alan Wake fan.
Alan Wake come out? When was it? When it was?
It came out on 360. I think it was kind of not necessarily later.
2007, 2008.
I don't remember. I remember playing it for a little bit. Couldn't really get into it. Watching one of my boys play it. He loves Alan Wake. Absolutely loves this game.
2010, May 8th.
2010.
18.
So yeah, so this is definitely later in the generation. And this is the one game, I think it's kind of niche, but this is the one game that a lot of people like. It's like synonymous with Remedy. Like people, when they think of Remedy Entertainment, they think of Alan Wake, and it now that we know that Alan Wake, that game is in, all their games are within the same universe essentially, like Quantum Break, Control, Alan Wake, they're all in like their own little Remedy cinematic universe or whatever. But
right,
I don't know. This just isn't for me, man. What do you think about this one? Are you getting it?
Did they put a release date on this yet?
Yes, this is actually coming out in October.
Oh no, not pass.
Why is it the pass for you?
Let's see. Battlefield comes out in it comes out right around that time. We also have, well, Halo doesn't come out to December, and then what is the name of that game that comes out? Not, what's that PlayStation game that's coming? Not Deathloop. It was something else that's coming out on Play.
Kane and Bridge of Spirits, but that's later this month.
That's end of September.
Yeah.
So it maybe if I'm
this is the first week of October. This is the first week of October.
Oh no, yeah, no. I'll be playing Kane and Bridge of Spirits. I'll still be in the middle of Destiny grinding and stuff like that, and then as soon as I'm done with that, by the time I'm done playing Destiny or tired of playing Destiny because the season is going to last until February, I'm gonna be ready to play not NBA, but ready to play Battlefield, and then Kingdom Bridge Spirits is going to be right before that. That comes out on September 23rd. So there's a week in between that. So you got that. Then you got this releasing the first week of October. Then Battlefield's right after that. Then you got Call of Duty. And I mean, I'm not going to really dive deep into like the multiplayer of Call of Duty. I do want to play the single player. But the thing that a lot of people don't realize about games like this is, yes, it is cool that they are they're bringing this game back out and they're kind of modernizing it for people to get a chance to play that never got a chance to play it almost 12 years ago. But it's also not a game that people are clamoring for and say, oh, I have to play Alan Wake. If it's gonna be one of those games, if you're interested in it, you're gonna get it. If you're not, it's gonna be a game that you're gonna probably pick up later on when it goes on sale and people are like, yo, that Alan Wake game was actually pretty good. Did you try it? And they're gonna be like, oh no, I was playing a bunch of other stuff around that time. I kind of think that's what's gonna happen with it, because it comes out on October 6th. If it was to come out probably like I guess it's no good time to bring it out, because if they would have
it really isn't. You know,
it is no
maybe the summer, maybe the summer. You know, like where things are usually a lot slower. You know, that might be time to put out a niche remaster that isn't like I agree with OBM in the chat. He says he loves Alan Wake, but this remaster didn't look like much of an effort. And
it didn't look like nothing. That's the thing.
Look,
what's good? So, what's good, Gaming with Persona?
Oh, what's up, Persona? How's it going, man? So, like, Remedy just entered into this publishing deal with Epic, and Epic is already publishing this. So I kind of feel like they just threw this together really fast.
They just wanted to get something out the door so they can start reaping the benefits of having them do stuff like this.
Exactly.
I think that, listen, if you're an Alan Wake fan, it's great that they're doing this. I played it, I beat it, I loved when I did play it. I think I like the American Nightmare stuff was actually really cool too. So that I'll probably be more interested in that. But
this has all of that stuff combined.
Oh, it has everything.
It has everything.
Got everything in
so
there.
It's okay. Alan Wake. It's all the whatever the DLC they had. It's all that stuff combined. And real quick shout out to Smokes 901 with the 70 Czar. He said Sony, them is cheaters, bruh. With a B with a 3090 Ti. They left home and went missing for weeks, not answering the phone, and now came back with roses and chocolate, thinking all is finna be fine. Trash. Oh boy, yo, Smokes had smoke for Sony during the live stream. So I think he still has calmed down. He's still a little angry.
He's still a little angry. No, but I think this is good. I mean, October, like I said, there's no good place for it to go. So I think getting it out now is probably the best they can do. I probably will try it at some point. It just comes down to the timing. It may not be at launch, but it's definitely a game that I will probably want to jump into, because I thought the original Alan Wakes and stuff was actually pretty good. And I never played all the DLC. I played American Nightmare and I played that, but I didn't play like the extra parts of Alan Wake when they came out. I just wish that remaster was a remake. It's been 12 years. And then I think it would be a little bit more people excited for it if it was actually a straight up remake from the ground up.
Right. And a lot of these look, if the game is over a decade old, I don't want to see a remaster of it. I want to see a remake, because at that point, a remaster, just touching up the visuals, raising the resolution, raising the frame rate, and you're not adding new textures to it. You're not really putting like visually more work into it. A remaster isn't modernizing controls or taking a deeper look at some of the mechanics that didn't age as well and doing something better with them. They're not doing any of that stuff in a remaster. That's what you get in a remake. I'm team remake over remaster every day of the week. So I think that's also why a lot of people in the chat kind of are not really interested in this. We got the poll for Alan Wake remaster is 57% of the chat is not interested. 42% is. Look, it's I feel like that might be reversed if they actually did a remake and put more time into it. But we're gonna move on because
it's another game for the Sony catalog for this holiday though. That's always a plus though. Right now, getting games to did they say it's PS5 and PS4? Or is it both or what?
I mean, it could run. It should be able to run on the PS4.
It should be able to run on the PS4.
I mean, see the way it looks.
You know,
it should be able to run on Nintendo Switch, if you ask me. I mean,
my God.
I'm not trying to slander. I know. I'm not certain. It's probably going to be available on everything, I think. But regardless, we can move on. I'm not really going to get into this because I can't stand the fact that this keeps showing up. GTA 5 and GTA Online, this big hustle from Take-Two and 2K, where Rockstar, where they're going to charge you full price for something that barely looks any different than what you played on an Xbox One or PlayStation 4. But yet they're going to be the same folks. I almost said a different word, but same people buying this game over and over and over and over and over again. So we just gonna move on. We're not even gonna do that one.
You can't be skipping. Did you even get the video footage for the game?
No, I didn't. So I can get copyright struck by Take-Two.
Oh yeah, that's right. Man, they did get you last time.
They could take that copyright strike and stick it up there. You know what?
We gotta get. All right, we'll give it 30 seconds. I'll give it 30 seconds. The game. People.
All 30 seconds will be you. I'm good.
Okay, 30 seconds. Yo, this game is a phenomenon. People all around the world love them some GTA. It's going to be another thing that's going to hold them over to GTA 6 when they finally do release it. And guess what? This game is probably going to 2028. And guess what? The game that you buy is going to have shark cards embedded into it, and you're basically buying the shark cards and not the game. And they're going to find a way to keep you attached to this game for the next 4 years. Yeah, they are masterful at production when it comes to this game. They are hustling people all to death. But guess what? I'm not going to be mad at it because console people are probably going to finally get a chance to see what PC people have been seeing for a long time. And that's the one thing I will say, Slow-Mo. People on console have only been playing at 30. They've been playing Grand Theft Auto has sold over 150 million copies, mostly on console, and it's been at 30 frames per second slow-mo.
This is longer than 30 seconds. This is more time that we need to be devoting on this.
You gotta give these people their flowers, man. They was out here supporting this game at 30 frames per second for a decade.
I don't need to give them anything. They got enough money. They can
support.
Buy their own flowers. Look, let's move on to Ghostwire Tokyo. Ghostwire Tokyo was shown next. I'm actually somewhat interested in this game, although I've never really cared too much for this studio's titles. They did the Evil Within games. You know how I am with these psychological horror kind of games. I don't be playing that stuff. What I look like around here trying to play something that's scary. I'm good. So, but this one I like the way the combat looked, where look, you're shooting crap out of your hands and you're fighting like demons or something. I don't know. It looks trippy. I think I'm somewhat interested. I'm not saying I'm gonna get it, but I'm interested. You know, it might be something I might cop. But this one's also timed exclusive to the PlayStation 5, much like Deathloop is. And I think they actually had a release date for this one, but it was 2022. I can't remember maybe it just said spring. We'll see at the end of the trailer. All that said, what did you think about Ghostwire Tokyo?
No, to me, it gives me, you know how Saints Row 3 has the alien vibe, it has alien invasions and stuff like that. This looks like depending on how the game is set up with the world and everything, it looks like it could be open like that, and it actually dives even more deeper into like that, you know, alien phenomena stuff that's going on, and the psychokinetic instinct that they want to go with. It actually interested me a little bit. I wasn't interested in it at all, but then when I saw it, I was like, yeah, this actually looks pretty crazy. And just the mind stuff that's going on in the game, and I always been about that psychoanalyzation of everything that's going on with this game and stuff. But in general, it's weird. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people are going to be super just interested in, something different. It is, which one of the Bethesda studios is working on this one?
This one is Tango
Gameworks.
Gameworks, yeah. This is the Japanese studio.
The Japanese
that they
studio.
have. And I think anybody that enjoyed the Evil Within games 1 and 2 probably are already sold on this. Like they don't even need to see anything else. They're getting it. It's a done deal.
This game was supposed to come out this year and they delayed it to next year, right?
Yeah. And that, look, it's, I never complain about delays. Delayed game means
delays being a better game.
Right. So
unless it's Cyberpunk.
Yeah, although this one does say spring 2022, so unlike the other games that we talked about that actually had like solid release dates, spring 22 is you got Q2. I mean, it could get delayed again.
It probably needs to, with Horizon Zero Dawn literally that same month.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sorry, man.
No. Horizon's February. This is spring, so this would be.
I thought you said February. I thought
this would be like March. It'd be like This would be like March to May. So somewhere in that time period. Although it wouldn't surprise me at all if it got delayed out of that too. The chat.
We don't need to see another E3 before it comes out again.
Right. So Sony can show the trailer again. Right. But 75% of the chat is interested in Ghostwire Tokyo. I think that makes sense. 25% isn't, and that makes sense with this game. Although this is another game that I've seen it enough that I could have done without seeing this one at the show. This trailer it's a little bit different than what I've seen before, but not so different that I feel like I actually learned anything more out of this trailer than I already knew about the game.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to, go through the chat a little bit. Shout out to Mike that's in the chat. ATL's up in the chat.
Hey, what's up, Mike?
Fletch is in the chat. We got Jonathan up in the chat. We also got we got Lady Foxfire. Shout out to you, always showing support in the chat. Asante, homeboy, shout out to you, man. You did not miss all of the PS showcase talk because we're in the middle of it.
Yep.
And then Big Mad Mo, shout out to you, bro. Thanks for all you guys and everything you guys do. Hit the like button, even though I know it's more than we only got 46 people watching and 40 likes, but I guarantee you all of you guys ain't hit the like button, so hit that too for my boy Slow.
Oh my gosh, the slander here. Okay, so
here goes Smokes. Let's go.
Oh man, Smokes 901 with the $35 35 czar. Thank you, appreciate you for that. He says when you watch a hardcore adult film and the camera guy keeps shifting and moving the camera onto the dude's nasty unshaved butt, that was Sony's show. Oh man, he's not happy with this show at all.
He gave you $2.50 basically to tell you Sony show sucks. shout out to Smokes.
And look, part of the reason why he probably feels this way is what we're about to talk about right now, which is this Eidos Montreal developed Guardians of the Galaxy game, which when was first shown at E3 at the Square Enix E3 show looked terrible. And not only did it look terrible, Square thought it was a great idea to give us 15 minutes of this terrible gameplay. And it just at least with Sony said, look, we ain't gonna show the gameplay. We ain't going to ruin people's mood and their vision with this atrocity. Now visually, the visually don't look that bad, but the way this game is formatted based off of what I saw with the gameplay, you only control Star-Lord. Like I really only want to control Peter Quill in the game, where you just do commands for the other Guardians in combat. This game is gonna flop. This has got flop written all over it. It looks worse than Marvel's Avengers, which flopped. And I can Marvel and Disney stop giving the Marvel IP to studios that are not deserving is what I kind of feel about this. What about you, man?
I am with you. When I saw this game, I was like, okay, Guardians of the Galaxy. I wonder if it's going to look any better than it looked when they showed it earlier this year. And yeah, they just pretty much cherry picked it and said we're just going to show the best parts of it. Rocket Raccoon looks like a Viking because he has his little beard thing on his head, and it looks cool. The voice acting was good. I don't think that was a problem or anything. I just think in general that is nothing tying this to anything. When it comes to like when Spider-Man got released, a Marvel IP, we had just came off of one of the best freaking Marvel movies ever. Within like real close to that, and that kind of helped with the sales. And then we had a movie right around the corner that kind of pushed it even more to the stratosphere. Who knows when the Guardian of the Galaxy Part 3 or Volume 3 is going to release, because we know Gunn has been, ever since he's got taken off and then put back on it again, we don't know what the development of that movie is. So it's really nothing to excite people. It's just people to say, oh, it's Guardians of the Galaxy, but it's not any of the people they recognize. I mean, yeah, the characters are the same names and everything, and it doesn't say that you have to have the people that are in the movie portraying the people in the game, but
that hasn't been the route that Square Enix has gone anyway. Like they didn't try to model like the Avengers game, like the characters in the Avengers after the MCU actors. Which I didn't mind that, because I mean, look, those are just actors. They're portraying characters from, as long as the characters look like, similar to the art direction of those characters and the features from the comics, I'm good. But I don't really think that's the problem. I think that's more superficial stuff. The problem is that the game doesn't play great.
Well, we haven't played the game, so I really don't.
Well, I mean, Marvel's Avengers.
Does it look great?
Yeah,
Marvel Avengers didn't look great at all. It didn't play great at all.
And I think Crystal Dynamics is a better developer than Eidos Montreal. If you look at Tomb Raider, for example. Tomb Raider Definitive Edition and Rise of the Tomb Raider, great games, made by Crystal Dynamics. When Crystal Dynamics started making Marvel's Avengers and Eidos Montreal came in for Shadow of the Tomb Raider, you got the worst game out of that trilogy. I kind of feel like they're like the B team for Crystal Dynamics, and they don't really do anything that's like very different from what Crystal Dynamics is doing when they develop games. And they always end up being just mid. And I think this has got mid written all over it. Shout out to Chrono 066. Hey, that's your homie. It's Jeremy. Yeah, what's up, man? Jeremy. He says, I don't know if Guardians of the Galaxy is a horrible game. It just looks completely uninspired and created by a committee. You know what? It's an excellent description. That is an excellent description. I think that really works for how this game looks, and I think the chat really agrees. It's like the most lopsided.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's about the most lopsided vote here. Only 19% of you guys are interested in playing Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm sorry. It finished up with some people additionally choosing no. 83% of you don't want to play this game. Mm-hmm. So we know it's way too late for them to like change things in development, but that one definitely is not going to be a game I don't think that's going to do very well. Next up is, man, this was just like a really rough time of the show. Masquerade Bloodlines. So this is a game that's actually been in like closed beta on PC. Mm-hmm. I do know there are some content creators that I kind of follow that are usually into loot shooters that had got into the closed beta and were streaming this game and enjoying it. It's got a lot of like looter elements to it, but it's a battle royale as well. And so I'm not into battle royales at all. Like that's a big pass for me. What about you, man?
Hard pass.
Yeah,
it looks interesting. I like the environments look good. I like that you have guns, you have swords, hand-to-hand combat and stuff like that. Everybody has different abilities, which is always cool. It's another good spin on the battle royale formula. I don't know how big the player is gonna, how big the player count is going to be in the game. But for the most part, it looks like I will give them this. It looks like they did really think about the different classes that you can have in the game, the movement, the traversal. You got people jumping through windows and hovering and stuff, and you got vampires and all this other crazy stuff. So it actually looks like it will be an interesting game, but I just haven't been into battle royale in I don't know how long. So
yeah,
it's kind of a big pass for me too. I mean, it could be the next big thing though, Slomo, because you know battle royale is still one of the biggest raves. And if it all it takes is one person to stream this game and show how good it can be,
bro. Big time streamers have streamed this game. I've watched. Yeah, okay. I have watched big time streamers stream this game, and I don't think it has legs. I don't think this one has legs at all.
Okay, so you actually seen actual gameplay of it, yeah?
Yes, I've seen actual gameplay, and I was actually shocked at the way it looks. Like the traversal over rooftops and stuff it's interesting. I'm not going to front on that. I think that looks pretty cool, but the fact that it's a battle royale, I have zero interest in it. Now there are people who like battle royale games, but I don't think. You're not going to get people who play Apex Legends or Fortnite to stop playing those games to play this.
Right. Do you think it plays better than that game that will not be named that you played in a secret beta that you thought was a waste of a download?
Oh yeah, no, it definitely plays better than that. Like there's nothing that plays worse than that game. But much like the previous game, the majority of the chat is not interested in this, and we even been told skip this game from Anonymous. But 77% of you guys are not interested in Masquerade Bloodlines, and which I think we can real quick before we transition. I think this is where this was like the low point of the show, because the way, and we'll get into this once we're done, but the way you really deal with like having weaker content within your show is to not like put them all together. Bunch them all together like that, but they kind of broke them up. Like put something like this in between Forspoken and the Wolverine reveal. You know, so like people will completely forget this game was even shown, but instead you had this game like
at the tail end of all the trash that you
exactly, and like why? At this point, people it's burned in people's minds that this was shown, because it's like it was just back to back of stuff that people had already seen or didn't want to see, which gets
right
into the next game that fits the category of games that people are tired of seeing, and that's Deathloop. Look, and I'm hyped for Deathloop. I'm playing this game at launch. I'm playing it. Even though
they made you not want to play it as much as they seen it. You've seen it so much.
No, I'm not. My enthusiasm for the game hasn't lessened at all. But I've always been the kind of person that once I'm sold on a game, I stop watching trailers for it. I stop. I don't like to see it because I don't kind of want. I feel like I almost get ruined by stuff by seeing it too much. This game has literally been at every state of play, every single thing that they have done in the past year. Sony has done. This game has been shown at it, and it's just, it looks awesome. I think it has. I think it's going to review extremely well. Arcane Studios is extremely good developer. I don't think the game's going to be bad or anything. It's just that like, you showed this at State of Play. Your last State of Play that was like a month ago. Why are you showing this now? I just like stop. Are they contractually obligated to keep showing this thing or something? The game comes out next week. You don't need to show this again. You don't. Like,
well, you know what I think.
You show Kane a Bridge of Spirits. Like what? My bad. Go ahead.
No, you know what I was thinking. Let's. Okay, this game is the studio that owns this game is an Xbox Microsoft studio now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Arcane. what if, and this is just all theory, Clive, who really knows? Maybe they're showing it so much so they can, if this game sells really, really freaking well on PlayStation, we all know that Bethesda has their own charter. Mm-hmm. They run separate from Xbox Game Studios, even knowing they still answer to Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer still gets the final say on what happens and where games go. But they still can act autonomously when it comes to the things that they do when it comes to developing and making their games. Mm-hmm. So who's to say that Sony isn't trying to put this game out there and get PlayStation Nation super hyped for it? And what happens if this game sells 5, 6? I mean, it's probably not going to do that. But how if it sells 3, 4, 5 million copies on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5? What would that actually show? What would that actually say to Microsoft and to Bethesda about a title that is made by them? How could they put more pressure on Xbox to want to release more games than the games that they're probably going to release on the console? Because then they will actually have some type of stats saying like, yo, these Bethesda games do really freaking well on PlayStation. Do you really want to cut out half your player base and stuff like that? Not saying that that's going to be a thing that Microsoft's going to care about, because let's be for real, Microsoft really doesn't care about the sales. They care about Game Pass more than anything. But that, I just think that there's no reason for them to show this game as much as they're showing it, unless they're trying to get people more hyped for it. And the only reason I can see them getting people more hyped for it is because it's from a developer and a publisher that after this and Ghostwire Tokyo, they may never see another Bethesda game ever again on their platform.
So they're trying to milk Bethesda titles and while they can? Is that what you're saying?
They're trying to milk them while they can, but they're also trying
I don't think that works, because this is a brand new IP. If this was Elder Scrolls or Fallout, then I could absolutely see that.
Well, they already know Xbox isn't going to allow those games as of right now.
But the only reason this is on PlayStation is because the deal was set up before the acquisition.
Exactly.
But if this was a time, like if Sony dropped the massive bag it would take to do this, and somehow got Fallout 5 timed exclusive to PlayStation 5. Like,
you can see that being more of a thing.
They're definitely milking it, because they probably spend a ton of money to get something like that to happen, and far more than what they spent to get this Deathloop timed exclusive. And you're gonna get your money's worth, because after that Fallout game, you're never getting another Fallout on your platform again, unless you add Game Pass, which probably ain't happening either. So it's just, I don't know. I don't know about that. I think I feel like it may be something contractually obligated that they had to keep showing it. Look, this
might be, that's what it is.
This isn't even the trailer that they showed at the show. This is what they showed at the last State of Play.
Oh, it is? I didn't even realize that. So this isn't even new stuff.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, they just keep showing this game. Hold on. We had a super chat. Smokes 901 with the 70s are. There's one millionaire who's mad as hell and having sleepless nights and regret, and that is Ted Price. Man, he should have charged Sony $5 billion for Insomniac. PlayStation Studios should be called Insomniac and the Gang. Now, hey,
I ain't gonna lie. That's probably the best.
They've been kind of carrying. They've been carrying them.
They backpack strong.
They got a strong back. And they carrying the entire studio on it, like all of them, because they out here lapping everybody. Just like it seems like the rest of them are jogging, and Insomniac is an Olympic sprinter, just sprinting around the track. But hey, look, even though I think some people are tired of seeing Deathloop, 100% of the chat is interested in getting this game. So look, hey, Sony could look at it like, y'all may be tired of seeing it, but y'all
gonna keep showing it to you.
Apparently, you're gonna buy it. You're gonna get it. Like you want that game. So I also think this helps. I also think this helps Xbox more than people think too, because if people on PlayStation sees that this is a quality enough game from them, and it's an Xbox studio going forward, it might entice people in the future to actually
want to jump on Xbox and get their next game, or at least jump on PC and get Game Pass where it's going to be available over there too. Because games, I mean, this can only look, it's going to help Sony in the short term because it's another PS5 game and PS4 game that's coming out that they can sell to their consumers this year. But it's going to help Microsoft more long term if this game does impress and sells a lot on PlayStation, because then it's going to bring in that harsh reality like, y'all like that Deathloop, right? Well, that developer that made it, they only work for Xbox now.
And they're making Redfall, which is coming out next year. Try that out, right? Yeah.
So it's like a give and take thing right now. I think you're right. I think you're more right than I was. I do think Sony is just milking it for as much as they can. They know that this is probably the last hurrah, and we're going to make sure that people know and understand that this is a game that they should play.
Yeah. I'm skipping the next one because I don't even know why the hell they even had it there. Kid Amencia.
Oh, I agree. Yep, skip.
That thing was 30 seconds and it didn't. I literally have no idea what that was. I have no idea what kind of game it is. Nothing. Like, why is this here? Like, why was that even put on? Whatever, right? Like, see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, why were some of these games here? That made no sense. It's not even going to be talked about. So next was, and I don't even know how to really pronounce this, but I'm gonna give it a shot. Tachia.
Yeah, Tachia with the black girl with the guitar. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, love to see people of color, with prominent, characters in the game. That's it. I have absolutely zero interest in playing this. It reminds me of Pokemon or Bug Snacks, and y'all know how I feel about Bug Snacks. And nobody in the chat say, "Hey, Slow Mo, for what? Let's do a bet so you can play this game." I'm not playing it. Okay, it's just not. Don't even get me started. Don't even try it. Don't even ask me on my Twitch channel to make a channel reward for Tachia or the Chia Pets. I know I'm not.
Yeah, you are. We're gonna get you to learn how the guitar chords and everything work in the game so you can play it.
Yeah,
you gonna be singing the songs that she be singing in the game. We got you, bro.
I'm not playing this game.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not.
It's only a matter of time, sir.
Look. We need to move this along. What do you think about this game?
I know I'm more interested in the fact that Slow-Mo we will have a tier on DPS for Slow-Mo to stream this game.
I'm not streaming this game. She's transforming.
Put another poll up there too. Put a poll up there.
No,
too.
I'm not. Because I already know what the poll's going to say.
Put a poll up there. Everybody in the chat, if you want to see Slow-Mo stream to Chia, put 1 in the chat. If you want to see him not streaming and embarrass himself, put 2 in the chat.
How was not streaming it embarrassing myself? I'll be embarrassing myself trying to play this game.
That's what I'm saying. If you try to play,
the girl is transformed. She's petting crabs. She's transforming into birds and billy goats. I'm not playing this. I'm not playing it. And it seems here no one else wants to play it either. We got 86% of the chat doesn't want to play Tachia. So
we got a bunch of 1s in the chat, bro. A bunch of 1s.
I don't care.
Give people what they want, man. You a streamer now.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you what you want, okay? And what you want is just for me to not
pain.
No, let's move on. Let's move on.
One bad mother said, "Not me."
Melodic, stop it. Lying, somebody looks lit. Melodic's out here lying.
Well, Melodic might actually like games like this. Shout out to the troubleshooters.
We moving on. Next up is something I think caused some fanboys a lot of pain. Uncharted Collection. Uncharted Collection is being remastered or touched up, however you want to call it.
Was it Uncharted Collection or was it Uncharted? Was it just Part 4 and Lost Legacy?
I think this is everything. It's just Lost Legacy and Uncharted 4. That's it?
That's it. It should have been the collection, but it wasn't.
But what? Wait a minute. That's all this? This is only Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy?
And Lost Legacy.
Okay. All right. This is why. Because I think, all right, so the Nathan Drake collection is already available on PlayStation through
PlayStation
backwards
4,
compatibility.
yeah.
It's
on PlayStation 4. They made a PlayStation 4 version of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. I said through it's available for. I'm sorry, it's available through PlayStation 5. Yeah, it's backwards compatible for PlayStation 5. Of the PlayStation 4 versions. I don't think they felt it was necessary to remaster that, but I do think that the Nathan Drake collection, which is 1 through 3, is going to come to PC, because this collection here, which is Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy, are going to PC. So it doesn't really make sense to just have 4 and Lost Legacy on PC without 1, 2, and 3. I feel like they're going to have, it's probably coming in a later announcement, but this is the one that's going to look better, because if you played Nathan Drake collection, it looks better.
Yeah,
but it's still, you can see how the remaster is dated in some areas. So
I agree.
I forgot to put a poll up for this, but how do you feel about it being on PC, and how do you feel about the reaction about that? I am
super happy to see it. I love how they put up that big old splash screen. He said PS5 and PC. And plus, remember that we already knew about this. We didn't know about Lost Legacy, but we knew about Uncharted 4 because of that leaked document. Real quick,
hold on. Want to say shout out to Roscoe P Code for subbing to the channel. Appreciate you, Roscoe. Thank you, sir. Go ahead for a sec.
We knew about this from that leak document that they have from that PowerPoint presentation that they had, where they talked about all upcoming games, and God of War and everything was all on that list.
It was also in that leak of the database for the Epic Games Store, where it was listed
exactly.
There too. Yeah.
Yep, and that might be where it's going to go, the Epic Games Store. So they haven't announced what platform it's going to be on, PC, Steam, or anything. But as of right now, the fact that it is coming, I do agree with you. This would be the best one to bring over. But a lot of people are going to be like, yo, can we get the first 3 so we can play through the whole thing? Because I think the first and the second one are probably the ones that need the most work. Second one is still by far my favorite Uncharted game of all of them. 3, I think, is pretty modernized enough to the point where it looks good enough to be just ported over and just works on a PC or the PS5. The first 2 kind of need some major uphaul, especially that first one, because the first one controls are pretty terrible.
But it's a bit rough.
But the interesting thing is
2 is the best Uncharted game there is.
The best Uncharted game
that's the one that I really kind of feel like you need to have that one on PC. If you're going to put any of these games on PC, you should be putting Uncharted 2 on PC.
You want to know the one that I want to see? I truly, and I think a lot of people will want to see this too. I think the Vita version, Golden Abyss, should finally come to a console, bro. If you never... Uncharted Golden Abyss on Vita was so fun, bro. It was a shame that it was only on a freaking handheld. It was is it better than Uncharted 2? No. Is it better than 4? No. But I enjoyed the story that it did tell, and that intimate moments of just having that in your hand and just playing the game. It felt really, really good. If they was like one of the best implementations that they did of the controls with the back buttons of the Vita and everything with the touchpad, I think that was really cool, and something they can easily mimic on a PlayStation 5 or the PlayStation 4 due to the touchpad on front of the system or the controller. I really want them to bring that to a console, but if they don't, it's fine. But every time I see Uncharted, I always feel remiss to say that Golden Abyss was actually a sleeper, and a lot of people don't even really know it existed.
Well, I mean, like, maybe, I think Blue Point might be a little too busy with whatever their new projects are to push that over. But hey, maybe that's something that Nixus might be involved in.
That's true. That is true. But
you never know.
But question: $70. What do you think? They are giving you both games with all the DLC. $70.
Is that confirmed?
No, I'm saying, what do you think?
They ain't charging $70 for this on PC. That's not happening.
Well, now I don't think on PC, but on PlayStation 5.
That's all I care about, because I'm getting it on PC.
Are you sure? We haven't really seen a PlayStation 5 game be on PC yet.
Yeah, we have. I mean, wait. You mean okay? I see what you mean, like an actual PlayStation. But this remaster is like, yeah, a PlayStation. Well, okay,
it's technically a PlayStation 5 game.
But like, if you look at what other publishers have done, when they've charged $70 on consoles, they have not charged that $70 on PC. And I think it's because they know the PC community isn't going to buy it at $70. They will wait for a sale and then they will buy it then. And you're really kind of hurting yourself to go that route. So I kind of feel like that it just won't be that price. It's especially for just to get a touched up, prettier version of two older games combined. $70. That's it? Nah, it's not enough. It's just not enough, man. And that's just my opinion. Kind of a dead heat. In the chat, we got a 50-50 split on yes or no for the Uncharted collection. I thought that's pretty interesting.
I think a more interesting question is where people are going to play it at. Are you going to play it more on PC or are you going to play it on the PS5?
I think with our demographic for this chat is definitely going to be more PlayStation 5.
PlayStation 5, yeah. Same.
Yeah. Now, moving on, we did get another trailer for Gran Turismo 7, which
they finally showed that this game exists.
No, they showed it before.
I mean, they actually really showed the game this time, finally.
Yeah. I think, I'm not interested in this kind of racer. I'm more of a casual racer person that may play, like, I reinstalled Forza Horizon 4, and, a race against my buddy, which I destroyed him. Shout out to sweet brother Numsy. Thank you for dropping 13 straight races to me. That was great. But no, I'm a very casual racing fan. This like hardcore racing simulator stuff, I can't get into it. I know that there's like it's a very niche thing. There's some people who really love it, but it ain't for me. It ain't for me. So I'm definitely going to pass on this. What about you, man?
It's hard for me to say because Forza is like God for me when it comes to the Horizon series. I am a huge Need for Speed fan, and I haven't missed Need for Speed since I've been playing the Horizon games because I feel like they give you everything you want on, especially on that arcade sim type racing style. And then the game doesn't look it looks great. Like the environments look great, and they're even taking it to another level with the HD textures and cameras and stuff that they're doing in Horizon 5.
It looks amazing. It looks great.
Looks amazing.
Yeah.
And guess what? And guess what? People kind of forget that Forza 7 looked amazing too. But the thing is, Forza 7 is a sim. And the same thing that this game is, Gran Turismo, it's a sim too. Now, let's be for real. PlayStation probably has more of a lot more followers when it comes to the sim racer because Gran Turismo is one of their most sold franchises ever.
Yeah, like, but there hasn't been a mainline Gran Turismo so
that's the thing I was going to say.
Yeah.
We haven't had one since PS3. Really? Like, what did they have on PS4? Did they have Gran Turismo?
They had
6
Sport
on PS?
They had Gran Turismo Sport.
It was Sport over there, yeah. Gran Turismo 6 was PS3.
Yeah,
the end of PS3. Yeah. So we went a whole entire generation, and I think in general people are going to be excited to play it. It's going to be a game that's going to speak to a lot of people that want to play those type of games when it comes to sim tile racers and stuff. They have a lot of making up to do. I think that's the biggest thing because as of right now, Microsoft has all of the mind share when it comes to just racing games in general.
I agree.
And I kind of honestly think that's why you don't see Need for Speeds as much as you used to see because they look at it like as much as you got to think it costs a lot of money to license those cars.
Doesn't EA publishes Need for Speed, right?
Yeah, they publish Need for Speed, and the fact that you don't see them
we
all
know
the time,
the EA philosophy when they feel like they can't win. This is what we see with NBA Live, which is
they just
we don't see NBA Live because they know they can't compete with 2K, so they don't even try. And so I think for Need for Speed, they're not even like, man, we can't beat Forza.
Can't beat Forza, so why do it?
Although I do think we should because they purchase Codemasters. we should expect to see like the Dirt series or
see
probably
something in the
more.
Dirt.
Like maybe Codemasters will revive Need for Speed. Maybe they felt like they need to get a developer that was better at racing than their current.
Oh, I agree with that.
Their current stock of developers to compete better. But yeah, I agree with that. Like it's hard to compete when your competition is knocking it out the park every single time they release a new title.
I'm just glad that they're finally releasing the game soon, because I know a lot of people, and depending on how great the game is, it was one of the first games they showed off running at 8K, which is the only reason that the PS5 box has 8K on it is because of this game. But they got a lot to live up to, because you have a arcade racer in Forza Horizon that looks photorealistic in certain instances. What is this game going to bring? And it's also in a niche genre, because it's in a sim genre where most people don't really play as much at. So it's still good to see that it's finally coming, though, and it's going to do well for them, because the thing is, it probably would have did even better for them as a game in general if they would have just kept it as PS5 only.
Right.
Because then I think it would have probably sold. I think
it will already be
well
out
regardless.
too. It probably will already be out as well.
Exactly. They didn't have to worry about
pushed
the PS4.
it back
The game
for
would
the
be out.
PS4, which is they probably looked at also like look at the chat. 64% of the chat, although this is like a small sample size, but 64% of the chat's not interested in this game. You got like you already have a very small install base with PlayStation 5 compared to PlayStation 4. They probably looked at it and was like, this game might not sell a lot at this early in the generation, where we haven't really established ourselves quite yet with PlayStation 5. Let's put this on PlayStation 4 so we can get more of those sales. Shout out to Glacian3 with the $5 super chat. He says, this is a perfect time to remind Slow Mo to give the gaming streets what they want. Hashtag Bug Snacks Platinum playthrough. You know, I don't think that's what the gaming streets want, and there is a path to get me to platinum Bug Snacks.
There is a path. Wait a minute, you said there was never a path to do that. What's the path?
Well, the path is you on my Twitch channel, you gain enough, earn enough channel points to turn those channel points in and force me to platinum Bug Snacks.
Oh wait, do you have that as an option?
Yes.
There is?
Yes.
Hold up, bro. How many points does it take? How many points does it take? How many points does it take? For real, I need to know this. Is it like 30,000?
How many points is it? It's 50,000.
How many points does it take?
It's 50,000
How many?
points. 50,000.
50,000 points, and you get like 5 points for every minute you watch or something
I
like that.
I don't know what you get, but it's.
So listen. Everybody go to Slow Mo's channel.
Oh my God.
Just even when you at work, when he's streaming, just leave yourself in his chat and get all those points.
So look, great. This is the great one. Next one up, right? Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2. I didn't think they were going to show this. I thought it was too early. But who am I? Who am I to doubt Insomniac? Who am I to say it's too early for you to be showing us stuff like this? And they said 2023. So this is coming out in 2 years. And Insomniac is good for it. Dude, this trailer, very much a teaser trailer, but showing like running, like even though this is very all cinematic stuff, nothing like real gameplay, although this part kind of looked like a lot of like real gameplay there, but regardless, Venom's going to be in it. I seeing both Miles and Peter together like that, I kind of wonder if like you'll be able to play co-op with this, like if you can get a buddy and like your buddy will play, like be the second player playing Miles. I mean, who knows, right? It's the possibilities are pretty vast here. I'm hyped for this. What about you?
Yeah, dog. Listen, You always get on me about playing the original Spider-Mans and stuff. It just wasn't something that I was super. It's not that I don't want to play. It's just like it came out of the time where I was just playing this certain game that I just keep playing. When I saw the trailer, I was like, "Oh my god, they're gonna make me play this game." I was like, because I can't let another Spider-Man come out and not.
You got a lot of catching up to do. You got to play through the first Spider-Man, then you got to play through Miles Morales. Oh, you got to play through all the DLC. The 4 DLC that came with it was 3. It was 3. I think it was 3. 3 DLC that came with 2018, and then you got to play through Miles Morales. And then you know what?
Man, I watched my kid do it.
Excuse me?
I watched my kid do the whole thing. I'm not saying I watched her do it, meaning it didn't take her that long.
Is this what gamers do? We consider watching other people play games. I'm not.
Oh yes, we do. People watch you play games all the time. So be quiet.
That doesn't mean they don't play the games themselves. People watch me. People watch me play Hades, and they play Hades too.
I am gonna play the game, bro. I'm gonna play the. I'm just saying. I watch my kid.
Yeah. K Asante with the $2 super chat. Slow mo 50K challenge accepted. You know, look. Sir, it's a path. That's really I appreciate the super chat. That's really unnecessary. There are other rewards there too. You know, there's other channel point rewards that you guys can use your points for. You know, you don't have to save them up for this. You really don't.
Oh man, you don't see everybody not spending their points anymore. You know what? There should be one for that game so we can watch you play that too. What
was it? The Chia Pet or something like that?
Yeah, the Chia Pet. Chia.
Yeah, no, it's not happening. I think we pretty much like this is a foregone conclusion. Insomniac are wizards. We're definitely going, when we see the next game, talk about how they are on a whole nother level. Forget just being the best developer under PlayStation Studios. They're one of the best developers, period. Nobody can drop as many games as they drop and have them be as high quality. It's weird. You just can't see this anywhere else, where their games are consistently 85 Metacritic scored games or higher, and they're just dropping them on like a year and a half basis. Like every year and a half, there's another Insomniac game that's out, and it's great. You know, it's just crazy. Shout out to Jonathan Entwistle with the $5 super chat. He says, Forte, you can't complain about slow-mo not playing Bug Snacks if you haven't played any Spider-Man games. Thank you, Jonathan.
All right. You know what? Challenge accepted. Slow-mo.
No, we're not modifying anything. You just need to play Spider-Man. No, you just need to play Spider-Man. Don't do it.
I'm gonna play Spider-Man. I'm gonna play Spider-Man.
But I know how your brain works. You were going to say if I beat Spider-Man, will you platinum Bug Snacks? That's what you were going to say.
No. Listen, if I platinum
there is
Spider-Man,
no.
Platinum Spider-Man.
The platinum for Spider-Man is super easy.
Wait, and platinum Miles Morales. Both.
That's super easy too.
All right. Oh no, you pick the game I platinum.
No. Just play the games. Just do yourself a favor and play really good games.
I do play really good games. It's called Destiny. It's great.
No, that's not a really good games. That's a mediocre game. One game. You know what? We've been on this.
Quantum Break. That was a good game too.
Quantum Break.
Hellblade was a good game too.
Quantum Break was 6 years ago, man.
I still beat it.
It was 6. Stop.
I beat God of War. I mean, not God of War. I beat. I
can't believe we're having this conversation.
5.
Cannot believe we're having this conversation right now.
I beat Gears of War 5 slow-mo, so I beat that too. I beat the DLC too.
I think I missed one. I missed the game. That was in the Sea of Mid. Let's just get this one out the way real quick. Rainbow Six Extraction was a game, and real quick before I get into that, 88% of you guys are interested in Spider-Man 2. I'm not surprised about that at all. That 12% probably is Forte is probably one of those guys.
No, I said yes. I said yes, sir.
We can just do this one real quick. Rainbow Six Extraction, they showed this at the Ubisoft E3 show. This is something that they've been working on for a while now. A PvE, I guess, spinoff or expansion to Rainbow Six Siege, which is an all PvP game. Rainbow Six Siege is got a massive community that has been playing this game faithfully for years now. I think, me personally, I think this game is definitely going to have legs with that community, but really no one else, because no one else cares about Rainbow Six really like that at all. What do you think?
Listen, I when I first saw the Extraction DLC, I was like, yo, this is actually a really good way for them to get more people involved into the Rainbow Six scene, because as of right now, it's not that it's a hard game to get into, but a lot of people just aren't into the one and done. When you get shot, you're out of the game and stuff. I mean, yeah, battle royales are definitely one of the things, but the thing about a battle royale, you die, you're out of the game, and you're right back into another game quick, versus games like this. Once you die, you got to wait and for your team to die and everything, and then all that stuff kind of snowballs from there. So I think this being something in vein of the Left 4 Dead style of gameplay, where you have aliens.
Correction. This is not DLC or an expansion. It's a completely separate.
It's a completely separate game. Yeah,
separate game. True. Okay, but I still think it stands that the only people who are really going to be interested in this are the people who were hardcore into Rainbow Six Siege. But go ahead, man.
No, so I agree. I think 100%. I'm just happy that they're doing something outside of it, because, you know, a lot of people were still bummed that there was no single player component for the game when they released it and stuff, because it was supposed to be like Patriots is what the name of it was supposed to be initially. Mm-hmm. And I think people are just happy to see that there is going to be something other than just multiplayer added to the game. But I'm excited. It's something that I'm going to play on day one, because I'm a huge Rainbow Six fan. Yeah, I love Rainbow Six. It's just that
I mean, it's got really good gunplay. I couldn't. I was playing it with some people, and shout out to them. Once they stopped playing it, I stopped playing it. So it was like, I just didn't have interest beyond that. And I feel like a lot of people don't. We got 87% of the chat isn't interested in this game. We can move on, though. We can move on to what we really want to talk about. Oh boy. Insomniac is making a Wolverine game? Insomniac is making a Wolverine game. This is absolutely off the strength of what they've done with Spider-Man. Basically, Sony and Insomniac went to Marvel, was like, what else you got?
You want another
We
hit?
that good. We that good. Give us, look at them over there. They messing up. Look at Square Enix. They don't know what to do with that. Don't give anybody else any X-Men properties. Give it to us.
Yeah.
And man, a Wolverine game. First off, it better be super bloody. I want to see.
Oh yeah.
I want to see the dismemberment all over the place. I want to see blood, guts, and viscera all over the place. It better be bloody. I don't want no PG-13. Spider-Man is fine for Spider-Man. How Spider-Man is.
Mm-hmm.
But Insomniac, we need to see that brutalness that is Logan, and that's what I'm looking forward to. The way that bar fight scene looked. I think we might get exactly what we're looking for here. I also kind of wonder, and I'm gonna pitch this to you. I think that any chance that Xbox may have had for landing an Xbox IP on their side or exclusive for them is over. Because if you look at how Sony has operated with Spider-Man, even with Marvel's Avengers, they made sure Spider-Man was exclusive to their platform. They've come out and said that they want Spider-Man to be synonymous with PlayStation when it comes to video games.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing a Wolverine game. Can you look now? I'm a hardcore X-Men fan. I know there are plenty of storylines that have nothing to do with Wolverine. He's not as big a deal in the comics when it comes to X-Men as he is with the casual audience that have only known the X-Men through the cartoons from back in the day or the movies that sucked that Fox made, where essentially Wolverine is like Wolverine and Friends.
Mm-hmm.
When that's how the casual audience sees this IP, you can't do an X-Men game really without Wolverine. Even though I've suggested I would love to see NXL or Obsidian do like a top-down XCOM style RPG with the New Mutant / X-Force. I would love that. That would be great to me. Also put it like in the style of like Fire Emblem Three Houses, where they're in the school and you're building your class. Like, I would love that. That would be great. But that's like kind of a niche kind of thing. Like, the window is closing for them to get any Marvel properties. I think they need to jump on that, because your competition is like, superheroes are popular, extremely popular, and your competition now has 2, and you got 0. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
You know, like, what do you think, man?
No, I heard you talking about that during the live stream when they showed it and stuff, and I was like, man, this is great for PlayStation, but it's like another not so great sign for Xbox in general, because, you know, Spider-Man and Venom. So we already know Spider-Man is kind of locked up to PlayStation. We know Venom is locked up to PlayStation. And that's mostly due to the movie side. But the fact that they have Venom in the game, it looks like they are leveraging their ability to hold the Spider-Man license over Marvel and saying, hey, what else you got for me? You want to put, guess what? That new Spider-Man movie that's coming out, that's not a Sony movie. That's a Marvel movie. So what is these, I think there's a lot of handshake deals going on in boardrooms between Sony and Disney at Marvel to have all these different things happen. And now that they got something like Wolverine into the fold, what does that mean for X-Men? Like you said, what does that mean for all of these other notable what about, you know, all of the First Mutants and stuff like that? What does it mean for like anything when it comes to just an X-Men game and stuff like that? Are you gonna have
Excalibur? Like the main X-Men team, Cyclops, Storm,
Cyclops was
like
right.
Colossus, like Can you have an X-Men game without Wolverine? No,
you're not.
Yeah, so it's a wrap for them getting the X-Men in. Which, if you think about when this is a super they already said it's not actual gameplay. This is a super teaser trailer.
Yeah,
they have got very little progress going on with this game yet. But I guarantee you, by the time this game is coming out, the MCU will be getting around to having the X-Men in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect timing for them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and we got probably the highest percentage here. 93% of the chat is interested in Wolverine, and like the 7% that isn't, I don't know what's wrong with y'all. Like you 7%. I don't know if you just mistakenly hit no when you meant to hit yes.
I think the 7% just wants to see more. Honestly, that's the one thing I will give people credit for. And a couple of people I was listening to talk about it in videos is it's not that they're not excited for it, they just want to see more. But my whole thing of looking at it is like, it's a Insomniac. They at this point they kind of proved to me that they know how to make a game. Mm-hmm. And as much as we know nothing about this, we don't know how it's going to play, we don't know what the environments are going to look like. I just like the fact that this studio has the opportunity to do something great. And Wolverine is it as big as Spider-Man? Absolutely not. Spider-Man is the biggest, superhero in the world when it comes to video games and movies and stuff. But Wolverine is one of those fan favorites. If they nail Wolverine and they nail that gameplay, and they do everything you said, like, in disembodiments, and they have, the blood and guts and gore and stuff like that, because, this game should definitely be a rated M game. Mm-hmm. If they can actually harness what Wolverine actually is in a video game setting, bro, sky's the limit for anything that they want to do when it comes to Marvel, because right now I don't even think Sony had to work hard to get this deal for
Absolutely
Marvel,
not.
because they saw what Insomniac did with Spider-Man and with Miles Morales.
Here's our pitch. Play Spider-Man. Pitch is over. We want Wolverine. All right, you got Wolverine. Thank you. We're moving.
Yeah,
like,
thank you.
Look, you don't need to sell them on anything. You already know what we do here. Insomniac, look, they got this done off the strength of what they've done with Spider-Man. And now the sky's the limit. And I don't want to see Insomniac turn into a vehicle of just doing Marvel properties for deals between PlayStation. Yeah, some people would, but then I think that would kind of limit their creativity totally. Like, that means that's no more Ratchet and Clanks, that's guaranteed. No more Resistance, that's guaranteed. No more no chance of a Sunset Overdrive sequel. Like, I don't want to see that, and I don't think people like Drew Murray left the initiative to go back to Insomniac if that's the case. But I think that if they have the bandwidth to do another Marvel movie, Marvel game, then give it to them, because they've proven that they are money with it. Yes, B Bunny, I agree. He said there's other stuff coming from Insomniac. Absolutely, we know they're working on 2 other games outside of the stuff that we know about. They're a very busy studio, and by the time other PlayStation studios drop 1 game, they've dropped 3. So you know how it is. Last game of the show, and we can talk about our overall thoughts, was God of War Ragnarok. I'll just let you take it away, because this is the one you was waiting for.
Oh my God. Listen, slow-mo. I'm going to tell you, like I was telling people, the first thing I was excited for is I didn't see any red, blue, or green orcs or ogres in the game. So I ain't really got to worry. Hopefully I ain't got to worry about, the same orc in a different color skin. But this is all I wanted to see. This looked phenomenal. The game in general, I like the back and forth between him and Atreus when it came to their family dynamic. It seems like Atreus wants to know more about who he is as Loki and stuff. I don't even think he even knew he was Loki, because if you remember at the end of God of War, when they was reading the things on the wall, his name, when he read it, it read Loki. And I don't even think Atreus actually heard him say that. So at some point in this game, he basically told told his son that, your name is Loki, and now he wants to know who Loki is. He wants to know more about who his mother was and everything, one of the giants and everything like that. So, and then you get a chance to see, I forget the guy that's played the voice of Thor, but he's from Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
I forget his name though. I think that was a really good pick, because listening to Thor talk, I was like, this is gonna be insane, bro. But listen, they did confirm that this is the final chapter of the Norse mythology. Mm-hmm. So we know that whatever they do in God of War after this is going to be in some type of different realm or different world or anything. Hopefully we get a chance to go to places like Asgard, because that was one of the places that it showed up in the room, but you couldn't go there because they basically said it was locked. Yeah. So hopefully those are places you'll be able to go in the future. But listen, I saw a diversity in enemies, which is something that I desperately wanted inside of the game. That doesn't mean that it's not going to be a bunch of copy and paste throughout the game, but I'm very, very happy in what I actually saw for it. And it just reminded me of how great that combat was, like watching the axe. It's been a while since I played God of War, but watching the axe fly through the air and calling it back, and it's like that whole Thor vibe and stuff, that was really, really cool. And I don't know if you saw the one fight with the lady with the mask on. That seems like this game's version of Valkyrie. Because the first thing I saw, I was like, why does that look like this game's version of a Valkyrie fight, when he was fighting that girl with the when he blocked her with the shield when she was coming at him real hard. I was like, this looks like what this game's gonna have when it comes to that extra difficulty scale when it comes into it. So I'm super excited, man. This is all I truly, really cared about seeing at this. Doesn't mean the rest of the show wasn't good too, but when I saw this, I was like, they did right by showing this game last. And I'm super excited for what it's going to come from this game in the future.
Yeah, what do you think about the people that feel like the game didn't look that much different from God of War 2018? That the reason
I'm
why that this game is coming out so soon after that previous game is that they're not really doing anything drastically different from that. What do you think about that?
okay. I would tell the same because this is something. Shout out to the great Ashley Luca that did the show with you earlier today. She actually brought that up as a thing that some people are probably going to be like, it doesn't look that impressive because it looks like the original. I'm just going to say you are probably right about that. For me, it doesn't matter because all people wanted for God of War was more stable frame rates and locked 4K. Because the game ran anywhere from like 1440p up to 1800p dynamic scaling. And even when it was running in that mode, even in performance mode, it was only getting up to 44 frames per second. They fixed a lot of that with the PS5. When that came out, the game pretty much locks itself at 1800p. It does hit 60 frames per second consistently all the time. And I know a lot of people like yourself and myself always said if this game came to PC, the game looks great as is. Like, I had no problems with the way God of War looked. Yeah. I just wanted better performance. And me being able to play God of War 4 now in 4K, 60 frames per second if I want to, experiencing that, which I probably will now because who knows when this is going to come to PC, and I definitely already own the game, so I have that ability to play it. But knowing that this game is coming and they really didn't do anything drastically to the fidelity of the game lets me know that what we have or what they felt like they had was good enough visually, and we can really amp up the performance of the game. And if this game is anything less than a lock 60 frames per second, I'm going to have a problem. But from what I see, it looks like it definitely should be able to do that. And I don't think it's a big problem that the game looks like the original. And let's be for real, even if this game, some people are going to say, oh, this could have been just DLC on top of the other game. That's fine by me, because as long as they give me a 30 to 40 hour DLC like they did with the original God of War, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna say what I said before, and I actually kind of anticipated it would be like this based off of like when they did the reveal, the teaser trailer. Yeah. I was like, well, that's pretty early, and I'm like, that game came out 2 years ago, and they're already doing like. Now I did hear that this game could be up to like 40 hours of gameplay, which is hey, awesome. But I feel like when people are talking about, well, visually, it doesn't look that much of a leap over the previous game looked amazing. But true, the way it was, some of the areas were designed, it was designed in a way to make it easy for a PlayStation 4 to run the game. More detail on the characters, less detail in the environment surrounding. That's not necessary with PlayStation 5, but it doesn't surprise me that it's not a drastic leap off of what the previous game was, which I don't see why anyone would have a problem about that, because the previous game was a game of the year. So it's hard to improve off of a really, really great performance and great achievement. So it's just like, I'm good. Like, this is what I expected with the time frame that this is coming out in. If you want a drastic change from what they had before, you're looking at like an additional 2 years before this comes out. It's coming out in 2022. That's 4 years since the previous game. Yeah,
good for me.
Good for me. I'm good with that. So
did you hear that it's a different director?
Yeah, I already knew Cory Barlog wasn't.
I know a lot of people were shocked by that. I was like, no, they always change. They even talked about it. They said God of War has changed the directors for every last one of them. I think a lot of people are probably worried about that. I'm like, no, the Cory Barlog laid the foundation for the story that they're going to do in this game. That story was already set in stone. The gameplay was already set in stone. It just comes down to, like you said, what are they going to do to make the game even more of an enjoyable experience and make that performance even better than it was on PS4? And I think that's what I think that's what they're focusing on with this game more than anything.
Yeah, and shout out to One Bad Mother. I think what he's saying is very true. He said if the devs didn't have to spend time on the game engine, it leaves a lot of time to work on dense content. I wish more devs would do that. It's yeah, absolutely with sequels. You know, you shouldn't have to do too much when you already got the game engine. Take Spider-Man 2 for example. I think Spider-Man 2 partially is coming out so soon is because I mean, look, it's going to take place in New York like every other Spider-Man game. You already built New York. All you're going to do is add some additional graphical features, a little bit more, you know, detail in some of the environments. You really already got like the foundation and of the groundwork already done. You're not going to change your Spider-Man combat very much from where it is. You're going to just add on to it the way they did with Miles Morales, improve upon what you already built. We see that with God of War, with some of the moves that he's doing with his weapons against the enemies, the combos. You're seeing that with the enemy types, the different, like, people complained about like having to fight the same bosses over and over again. We see they explicitly made sure to show us different bosses. They are doing what's necessary to improve upon what they already built, and it makes sense to me to not try to reinvent the wheel when the wheel is working just fine. Now, all that said, this is the end here. We have covered all the games. Forte, let us know what your overall score was for this game.
8.
I'm sorry, I'm saying the show.
8.5 out of 10. Even after me sitting around, and I know when I gave my score earlier, it was right after the show, and I was right off of the heels of seeing God of War, and I was like, that's all I wanted to see. And I came out 8.5 out of 10, and that hasn't changed. Even looking at this list, going through it game by game with you, kind of still told me that as much as a lot of people felt like this show had a very, very mad middle to it, they still had some really, really good games shown in there that, you know, starting out strong with SWTOR. I think that was a really, really good get for them. However long that exclusive period is, I think that's something that a lot of people cannot sniff at, because it's like, yo, that's Star Wars, and that's one of the biggest games that they've ever released in the Star Wars IP. So I think that was a really good get. And then, you know, Forspoken, I think that game is a technical showpiece. I think it's everything that you saw inside of that Unreal Tournament Unreal 5 demo, but you'll actually play that game. I think that was another really good thing. And then the end of it, it literally saved the show, because if you was to take Spider-Man 2, Wolverine, or I won't even say take Spider-Man 2. If you would have took Wolverine and took God of War out of that, this show was probably a 6.5 out of 10. Because Spider-Man, we all knew that Spider-Man was a thing. We just didn't know when they were going to announce it and show it off. So nobody was shocked by Spider-Man 2. God of War, I'm going to give that a point just because that's the game that I was excited for, you know, so I'm going to give that a point. So that would have took it to a 7.5. But seeing Wolverine, I was like, yo, that's a power move. And that is something that a lot of people did not see coming. And I wonder if that's the game that David Jaffe was talking about when he said that, you know, a game that a lot of people have been asking for, or just in general, what they've been asking for from Sony when it comes to stuff like that. I don't know if that was it, but if that was it, that was right on the money. And I think that's what kind of propelled this showcase to be an 8.5 out of 10. And they did a really good job. I just wish they would kind of do without some of the stuff in the middle. And like you said earlier, spread that stuff out, you know, put Forspoken in between some of those games in the middle to like break up the monotony. Or it's no reason. I mean, I understand you ended strong with the show, but you probably could have put the God of War. I know you wanted to finish with that game, but I think if you would have just shown Wolverine at the end of it, that would have had the same impact. So you could have probably moved the God of War up in between some of those other games, and then finish with the 1-2 punch of Spider-Man and Wolverine, and just end the show like that, and everybody be like, yo, Insomniac are gods. And I think, and at this point, and I'm gonna be, and the last thing I want to say, I'm at a point now where I just want to say that Naughty Dog they are a great studio, but there is something to be, and I'm gonna make a video on this. There is something to be said about a studio like Naughty Dog that takes their time, meticulous in the things that they do. But you know that old saying in football and basketball, slow-mo, the number one thing that the ability to be available is more important than anything. Yeah. And the one thing that Insomniac has always been since they've been purchased by Sony, they have been available.
Yep.
And with them being available makes them they may not be technically the best studio, a better game maker than Naughty Dog is, because I think they're the cream of the cream when it comes to that. But when it comes to their availability and the amount of games that they can release in a small window, we're talking about 5 to 6 games released by them in less than 7 years. Where Uncharted, where Naughty Dogs only did one game in a decade. Listen, man, that's hats off to them, man. That who was
2 games, 2 games.
Yeah, 2 Uncharted, games in 7 years.
2.5. Yeah. Okay, you got Uncharted 4, you got Lost Legacy, and you got The Last of Us Part 2.
Lost Legacy was an add-on to 7. They just broke it off. They even said that it was supposed to be DLC, but they said the game got so big that they just made it its own standalone DLC at that point.
2.5.
It was supposed to be
2.5. That's still like Insomniac did 3 games in 3 years essentially. So
literally not even 3. Yeah, by the time these games out, you're talking about Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Ratchet and Clank, and then within the next 2 years you're going to get Spider-Man Part 2. We don't know when Wolverine's coming, but they're just available. And I hate to say it, but it looks like as a maker of games, it looks like Insomniac has more of themselves together than anybody else, and they should be happy they only spent $2 million on that freaking system. $250 million. That's $2 million.
Like
$250 million.
Yeah, but that's a steal. It's a steal for what they got them for, which I think probably had a lot to do with whether they own their own IP and technology and stuff like that. And I think that kind of like studios that if you see them going for much bigger dollar amounts than Insomniac, is typically because they have proprietary technology software that they use in addition to owning their own IPs, which depending on the popularity or the success of that IP can determine how much that's going to cost the person or the entity that's acquiring them. Now, for me, I gave it an 8 out of 10, and here's why. Initially, it was going to be much lower than that, even though I did see the KOTOR remake, which is probably the one thing I'm most excited about out of what was shown. The Wolverine surprise took me completely by surprise. I wasn't expecting that. I really kind of wasn't expecting Spider-Man 2 because I thought it was too early for that. So all of those were surprises. I'm going to reiterate something I've said about Insomniac. I've been saying it for over a year. They are PlayStation Studios' best studio. And I said this a year ago before Miles Morales came out and before Ratchet and Clank came out, and people acting like I was crazy. How dare you say they're better than Sony Santa Monica, Naughty Dog, Guerrilla, Sucker Punch? Well, here's why. You're seeing why. What you're seeing by the volume of high quality output that they're giving the PlayStation platform. Where would this show be without the Insomniac presence?
That's a good question.
It would be God of War and KOTOR. And those would be the big bangers, the big reveals. Now, that's not saying other stuff that they had there wasn't good. I thought Project Eve looks good. Forspoken showed well. There are games there that I'm definitely going to get. We went through that already. But let's talk about what wasn't there. Let's talk about some of the elements, the elephants that are in the room. And since we're already on it, I'm about to transition to that. Let's just go ahead and do that. Factions. Where that? Because, I mean, look, like, I'm not trying to be unfair here. I don't think I'm being unfair at all, actually. I think I'm being extremely fair. They should have at least said something about factions. bring Jim Ryan or Herman out and say, we know you guys want to see factions. It's not ready yet, but we are working hard. We're anticipating having it ready around this timetable. These are the kind of modes that we're working on. This is what we're expanding with the game. Say something about that. Say something. Let's go through the history of what's been going on with factions. We expected factions to be with The Last of Us Part 2, the way it was with The Last of Us Part 1. It wasn't Sony coming out and announcing that factions wasn't going to be at launch with The Last of Us Part 2. It was a leak. They did Outbreak Day, said nothing. A leak told the world what was going on. Then after the leak, they said, all right, look, so it's not gonna be there at launch. It's gonna come separately. No talk of it's gonna be a paid thing, a free thing. No talk of how big a difference from Factions 1 to Factions 2 it is. And what have we heard from Sony since then? Absolutely nothing. It's been radio silent ever since that. They were forced to say something. So at this point, if you are someone who enjoyed factions, if you are someone who enjoyed playing that, and now like you're just left in limbo, you don't know what's going on. And whenever you got any information, it's had to been pulled out of Sony. That's not a good look. And I feel like they definitely, even though they do have opportunities to address this before the year is out, they got the Video Game Awards. B Money, our homie B Money, thinks that PSX might be a thing this year. They have opportunity, or they could just do a blog post. They could use Outbreak Day as their day to give us people an update. Give them something to feel a little bit better about, instead of just leaving their own imagination to what's going on with it. So I think that's a problem. I think I don't really charge all the other overly fantastic ideas that people had. Metal Gear Solid remake, Resistance remake, Remakes remake. You know, it's just like everyone thought there was going to be a remake shown for their favorite IP, Twisted Metal as well. None of that was there. All that stuff was kind of born out of like the community's expectations and enthusiasm, which there's no issue with that whatsoever. Like, your expectations are your expectations. You shouldn't temper them at all or lower them at all. That said, they never said they were going to have that kind of stuff there. So you know, I can't really charge them on that. But the pacing of the show was good, but the order of what they showed was poor. You started out strong with KOTOR remake and Forspoken, and then you, as we said before, you literally had us just going back to back of stuff either that wasn't deserving to be at the showcase, or we had already seen 5 million times already. So backloading the entire show with all the best stuff was not the best idea, in my opinion. So I giving it an 8 out of 10 off the strength of my love of KOTOR and my excitement with Wolverine. Good show otherwise, but those two really made it an 8 instead of like a 6.5 or a 7 for me. Now, back to factions. Oh, and let me do the poll real quick. For the poll, the chat, we had 54% said the show was a B. 27% said the show was an A. 13% said the show was a C, and 4% said the show was a D. 4% think y'all really just like no smokes 901 is in that number. But
we know where he's at. No F though.
Well, I mean, you only get 4 options.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Before we move off of factions, because we kind of running late, when do you think we're going to get some information on factions?
Do you really want to know the answer to that? 2000. You're not going to hear about
it this year. You don't think we're going to hear anything this year?
Next year. You're not going to hear anything this year. You want to know why you're not going to hear anything this year? Because they didn't plan on making this. I truly believe.
Wait, you think they weren't going to make factions at all?
Listen, let me tell you something, man. PlayStation has come out and said a lot of things over the course of the last couple of years. And I think the backlash they were getting from leaks and the backlash they were getting for not having factions there when they announced the game, and people was like, yo, where's factions? Because remember, when they first talked about the game, there was no factions. They talked about Last
there
of
was
Us
evidence that they were working on it. There was evidence they were working on it, but at some point before it was revealed that it wasn't going to be at launch with the story of the game, they separated out the people who were working on that.
Exactly.
So it wasn't that they canceled it. It's just that at some point they had made the decision to make it bigger. Exactly. But the thing is, the big issue with that is that they knew for months that it wasn't going to be available at launch, and they never said a single word about it until it got leaked. And that's all on them.
Yep, and that's why I think that it's not that it wasn't going to be a thing that was not going to be a game that they were going to release. I just don't think they expected this much backlash from it as they got. I think they thought more people was going to be excited around the story, the components of it, you know, the whole Last of Us, because everybody was like, when Last of Us released, everybody was like, yo, this is the same team that did Uncharted, and they literally just one-upped themselves, and they were more excited around that. But then I also think the vitriol came a little bit more fierce at them when the leak of all of the story stuff came out for Last of Us. So when people saw that, they kind of turned on Naughty Dog. They're like, yo, you're messing up our story, and you ain't got factions in the game. I think that kind of hit them really, really hard. Mm-hmm. And I think that, factions was going to be something that they were just going to slowly and surely just build out and finally release. Now, I just think they're just trying to keep their heads down because it's one of those bigger isn't always better. And I think they want to make that like its own standalone. I think they want to make it its own thing. Mm-hmm. Just like I think of Grand Theft Auto Online separated from GTA 5. GTA 5 can sell for $70 or $60 by itself. Grand Theft Auto Online could probably be a free-to-play game, but as great as it is, it probably could sell for $1 amount. And I think the whole conversation that people are having about factions being a game that they're going to sell independently is starting to really show itself a little more and more. The only other thing I can think of is factions not being a part of Last of Us 2 is being part of a remaster or whatever they're going to do for the remake, or not remake, but remaster of Last of Us Part 2 on the PS5, and they're not ready to do that yet. I think if it's either going to be a standalone game, which it's going to be so big it has to be standalone for them to make any type of profit off of it, or the remaster or the update that they're doing to Last of Us Part 2 is so substantial that it's not ready yet, and they don't want to release it until that's ready, and they're going to tie the game to that so they can charge that $70 price tag for it.
Oh, you know that's going to happen if they get. That's
what I think.
Jason Schreier already kind of like exposed all of that stuff, or what they really trying to do with the Last of Us remake for the Part 1. Which you add a remake in with a big, substantial, bigger version of factions, and people are gonna look at all that and say, I'll spend $70 on that. So that I absolutely do think that's what I think happen.
They're waiting on.
But I think not ready. I don't think we're gonna. I think we might. I think it's probably like a 40% chance. No, I think it's a 40% chance we'll see something. We hear something about it before the year is up.
You said 40% chance?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, so 40. So you still feel like it's more of a chance you won't see it?
No, I don't think we're going to see anything. I think we'll hear something from them. I think we'll hear something from them before the year is up, because I think that the clamor is getting louder as time goes on, and there's nothing to show from it. I agree with that. Last topic of the night, and we're gonna get up out of here. First of all, let me appreciate all 42 of you all who are still here with us at 12:30 at night Eastern time. I really appreciate.
Even though we said we're gonna get out of here at 12 o'clock, Slum, we always go long. No,
yeah,
we can't help ourselves.
We try.
Can't help ourselves.
We're both long-winded, but like so Sony announced yesterday before, well, I guess 2 days ago now, since it's technically Friday, but the day before the showcase, they announced that they had acquired Firespite Games, which Firespite is a large portion of this studio used to be Sony Liverpool, which was shut down. Now, these guys were known for the Wipeout series, known for the Playroom on PlayStation 4, Playroom VR, and they also did a game called The Persistence, which was on VR as well as a non-VR version. They are currently working on a AAA narrative-driven action adventure game. And I think that game probably looks so good that Sony said, let's go ahead and lock this up so this isn't a multi-plat like the previous games. We already have a lot of experience with the developer that it makes sense to me that you would, it makes that acquisition easier because they know who they're working with. They're comfortable with you, you're comfortable with them, yada, yada, yada. But what do you think about this announcement, man?
I think Sony is literally just greasing themselves up to actually get this under to just excite people even more with just more IPs and stuff. Like Star Citizen is something that they worked on. I think this is actually a really, really good move. I didn't know that they actually worked on the what is it, the game you just said, the Wipeout. I didn't know that they actually worked on that. I know they did some stuff in Astral's Playroom, which is really, really cool. And I think the cool thing about this is they understand the tech. They already worked with PlayStation. They already know what the tech is actually capable of. I think this is actually a good move for them. It's another way for them to, kind of make their worlds bigger and bolder and stuff like that. And that's one thing I think PlayStation, as much as we talk about, they have a lot of action adventure games. They know how to craft kind of those first person narratives. That's something that, if anybody's ever looked at Star Citizen, that's in a first person perspective and stuff. I think that would be something that can actually bridge a little bit more of a gap to kind of change up their ways that they actually develop and play their games. Maybe we'll get something that's in a first person style game, something that's going to actually stand out a little more. I welcome this just because I know the whole formula. It's just like Ubisoft, you got the open world, vomit over the map and, all the stuff pops up and this is what you do. That's what Ubisoft formula is. Hopefully that changes in the future due to the changes they did in management. But Sony has kind of did the same thing, but they done it in the third person form, over the shoulder, action adventure games, that's kind of been the bread and butter for Sony. They've deviated a little bit on that type of development and stuff when it comes to Ratchet and Clank and games like Returnal and stuff, where yes, they're third person, but they kind of play a lot differently than that, and they don't play like the traditional games that Sony's been making, like God of War lately and stuff like that. So I think this is a really, really good move. It gives the developers a chance to, really realize the game experiences that they actually bring and a bigger budget and stuff like that. And we do know that Sony is willing to fund things that may be outside the box because their fans enjoy games that are outside the box like that. So I think this is a really good move, and I'm definitely looking forward to the first thing that they're actually going to make for the PlayStation platform.
Yeah, I really kind of feel like the next game that they show is probably going to be something really impressive to get Sony to acquire them, and I kind of feel like that their last three acquisitions, and including how they work with, or the pretty much almost a guarantee that they have acquired Blue Point at this point. They are getting their acquisitions are different. Their motivations are different than Xbox's. Xbox is acquiring studios, but they're probably now more doing going after studios that provide something diverse and different than what their current studios do, because they got now 23 studios, but up until that point, for the past 3 years, they've been just trying to get content for their platform. build up
Right.
their first party, which was woefully underdeveloped and shortchanged compared to what Sony and Nintendo had. Sony, for these last three, you got Nixxes, which is a porting studio. They're going to be porting games to PC. This is explicitly why they were acquired. You got Housemarque, which provided different twin stick shooters and roguelike games, which is very different than what you were getting currently from Sony first party studios. I think they acknowledged that what the complaints that people had, well, your games are high quality, but your games are also all kind of fit the same format. You need something different. And although they were getting different from second parties, like Housemarque has always been making games exclusive for PlayStation. You never know when it could be a Microsoft and BioWare situation where you think you always got this developer to make stuff for you until you don't. And so Housemarque had been rumored to be courted by Tencent and Microsoft, and so they locked that down. They put a ring on it before that one could go on. I think that Firespike probably provides. I think this was supposed to have more like horror aspects to it. So like that's a different twist than what they're currently getting from their studios. So I think that's a good move for them. I think they are getting developers that aren't like Naughty Dog light or Insomniac light or Sucker Punch light. They're getting studios that do something different, that can target a different demographic that they currently aren't getting from first party. And so that's it.
I agree.
I wish them the best of luck. I hope they work out really well, and I can't wait to see what they got in store. I actually kind of thought maybe they might show that today, but they didn't. But we'll definitely see them sometime in the future. But that's the show, guys. That is the show. I gotta admit, really enjoyed this one. I'm very happy to see this late so many people here with us.
Listen, man, look at some of the people in the chat, man. Rodimus said thank you for having the show always, brother. Thanks for doing the modding work for us too. And ATL was like, thanks for making this shift work easy. Like, sometimes you forget that a lot of these people probably do work at night, and when they do catch this show, they catch it like on a rewind. So for the people that are checking this out right now that normally don't, we're super happy that you guys were able to check us out, and we're also super happy that you guys check out the replays and stuff too, because as much as we want to appease as many people as possible, this whole midnight thing ain't gonna be a normal thing. But we really appreciate all of you guys for sticking through and enjoying the day like we did today.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great show. I think a great day, actually. The live stream went really well. Enjoyed the live stream. Enjoyed chopping it up with those who came through. Shout out to everybody that came through and watched that. And definitely enjoyed this show. And then seeing all the usual suspects, and even those some new faces coming through tonight. Forte, let the fine people know where to find you in the future and where DPS Podcast will be next week.
Yeah, man. It's first of all, Salomo, this was a great show. Like you always tell me when I do a really good job hosting, as much as we still went over because the conversation was great, not because we were rambling and stuff.
Right.
And you did a really good job keeping it on track and stuff. And because if you didn't, this would have been a 3-hour podcast. It would be 1 o'clock in the morning. But shout out to you for the great work and preparation you put into this show and all the other shows that you do. But for me, Gaming Forte everywhere: YouTube, Twitter, Xbox Live, and PlayStation. DPS episode 51 will be on my channel next week. We will be back at the regular time of 9 p.m. So anybody that wants to come through, make sure you come through and support then. And check us out on Scumcast this Saturday with the lovely Ashley Luca at 8 p.m. It might be a different time because she's on a different time schedule. So check out Twitter for that.
She actually hit me up in DM and asked me if I would still be good for 8 p.m. So I think we're still good for the usual time.
All right, yeah. So check us out on Scumcast on Saturday at 8 p.m. and we'll talk about this stuff some more with an even bigger group of people. So enjoy your week and enjoy the games that you saw and the games that you're playing.
All right, and for me, I'm working on. I say this every week, but I'm really close to finishing up a couple of videos that I should have out very soon. And come check out my Twitch channel, same name, Slow Mo Backslap, where I'll be probably live streaming. There's a little indie game that I saw that I want to try out. I think it'll be really good for a live stream. But I think I'm probably going to end up live streaming Life is Strange next.
Nice.
So maybe not tomorrow, because I gotta go into the office tomorrow, so I won't be really home to do work and then kind of find some time to do some streaming. But maybe Saturday, almost definitely Saturday. So look out for that. Follow the channel on Twitch, same name, like I said, and we're gonna get up out of here. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Have a great night. Enjoy your games. Peace.
Peace.